Welcome back, Lelanders, to new episodes. Clone Evolution. Wow, we are back. Has been an exciting couple days for me. Today, what was the second? Oh yeah, the show title is The Second Zorro. I don't know if anyone's wondering what the hell I'm talking about. Second Zorro. I realized that when I'm doing the dungeon, the only thing that's getting me past each dungeon floor is Zorro. So I was thinking, dear God, if my team is so dependent on Zorro, and I was trying to beat the one that we're stuck on, the one that everyone's pretty much stuck on, even Duplo Lego. And you'll never guess, while I was playing it the past few days, played it over and over and over again, trying different combinations. This combination was actually the closest to beating it, to the point where I could kill all of his minions and make it right to the end, where it's like we last all 50 rounds. We just can't beat him. So what I was thinking, if I can slip in a couple more Zorros into this team, we'll actually beat it. Well, not to jinx it, but yeah, I think we'll have a pretty good chance at beating it. Hey, Steadfast, how's it going? No, I got some good news about things going on up north as well. Now, everyone was keeping their fingers crossed for me that I would get a good deal on repairing my garage. I don't know if that's what it was, but we got some good news. Well, I shouldn't call it good news yet because it's not actually in stone, but we got some leads for good news. Yeah, so lots of developments. Yeah, and I was kind of getting down in the dumps. I don't know if anyone kind of noticed. I was trying to pretend like I was really cheered up and my uncle's situation wasn't really bugging me too much with him passing, but I kind of got in a rut where I was just sitting at home and doing nothing all the time and just sleeping because I was like really down in the dumps. So today I actually got my disc golf membership and got back on my bike and started going outside doing stuff again, and man, it felt great getting some fresh air and exercise. So yeah, if I can keep doing that, I think every other day, it should be back to at least somewhat normal soon. Now, and the good news I got up north is, yeah, just one of the local guys that happened to be a builder looking for work. He's like, yeah, he could come by my garage and do the whole estimate for me because he only lives like a few doors away. So I was like, holy shit, that's great news. And I don't even have to go all the way up north to be there to get the estimate because the guy already lives there. So I was like, thank God. So I gave him my address and I gave him the guy's phone number that's staying in my garage. And I even got some video clips ready. I don't know if we'll play them on today's show, but I guess we can't play the one because the guy gives his phone number away, but yeah, so I gave the phone number of the guy staying in my garage to the builder, and the builder is going to drop by the garage today and hopefully get a whole estimate worked out. And he thinks that he can build my new roof addition to my garage existing for a lot cheaper than actually just demoing and building a whole new garage. So I'm hoping that his estimate is actually what he says and it'll be a lot cheaper, so that'd be sweet. Oh shit, almost went to roses for everyone. Only the special ladies in my life get the big roses. Everyone else, you get shit. No, just kidding. Now everyone else still gets the pink roses, but the red roses go to Duplo Lego because she's the queen of the server, I guess. Hey, Alan 3, or all 3 in. What's up? Just playing the game. Actually doing a lot better today. Got outside, got some fresh air and exercise. I kind of got in a rut where I was just staying in the side, venting and ranting on Facebook all day. It's not a good habit to get into. I don't know if anyone's ever gotten that issue where they get too addicted to social media, but that's one thing I'm thinking. If I go up north, hopefully I'll be able to get a little bit more away from Facebook, because I know I'll be enjoying the outdoors a lot more than in the city. The city, there's not a whole lot to do outdoors other than disc golf. Alright, so let's do some casino spins. Maybe the viewers can keep their fingers crossed. If we get one of these, whoa, that'd be nice. It is possible. Let's crack a beer. Holy shit, we made it to 3 likes already. Or no, 3 viewers, thank you. No likes yet. Damn you! I'm just kidding. Alright, did I do one spin there or two? Let's do another one just for the hell of it. Now, I've been planning all my trip up north, even though I've just been kind of down the dumps, sitting in the basement too much. Now, I was looking at the video clip of my garage, and I just kept thinking my garage was in such terrible shape, but after watching the video clip, the way the guy storing his snowmobiles inside cleaned it up, it actually looks pretty nice. Definitely wouldn't say it looks new or anything, but not as bad as I thought. Oh yeah, it reminds me, I think we got a free refresh in the Royal. No, not yet, another 10 hours. Alright, let's do some expedition battles so I can have a little bit of beer. Yeah, it looks like a good lineup. So all three in. He would like to know, how long have I been playing Clone Evolution? Too long. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's been an enjoyable ride. Originally, I started playing Clone Evolution just to complete an offer. And I was like, hey, I'm going to record it, complete the offer, and help people do both. Like, complete the offer. And then I ended up playing it for like 2 years. And I even deposited. We've even done, what is it, over 365 live episodes. So we're borderline, like a good chunk of my life is been playing Clone Evolution. Why? How long has all three in been playing? No, I'll have to, yeah, I'll put the fire screen up later, and when I do that, I'll get the clip ready at the garage. I don't even want to show the garage clip because, man, it's a really old, pretty nasty looking garage. Hopefully I can get it better one day. That'll be the kind of funny thing if I'm building a garage and putting an addition on the top floor that's like brand new. It'll be like old, I don't know, I shouldn't say 70s garage, year 2000 garage, and then with a brand new garage on top. So I'd probably spend most of my time in the top part. Oh yeah, the other thing I was thinking, if I get the top part renovation done, I'll have enough money, if it is cheaper, not to jinx it, but then I'll have enough to finish the balcony as well. Because that's what I was thinking, it's going to suck, man. If I do this garage addition, I'll have to wait years to finish the balcony. Because really, the balcony is the part I want the most. Just so that I can, like, not only have a nice place to crash when I'm up north, but to be able to sit on a balcony and smoke joints, drink beers, just look out into the mountains. That would be fucking sweet. Like, I don't know, I've had balconies throughout all my life at different places where I lived. 15-story balconies, 12-story balconies. I had a 12-story balcony for almost 10 years, and that was a nice one. So I've always been a big fan of balconies. And it's funny too, because I'm terrified of heights, so when I go out onto balconies, usually my legs shake and it's like, I get like panic attacks even. But for some reason I still like it. Now eventually when I had my, 12-story balcony, I couldn't even make it to like halfway to the end of the balcony. Because as soon as I got near to the railing, I'd start shaking. But then after like a few months of living there and going out into the balcony every day, trying to get more and more used to it, eventually I could even lean on the railing. So yeah, it just takes time. So if I get like a one-story balcony overlooking the mountains, sure it's not super high or anything, but yeah, I think it'll still be pretty nice. The only thing I'm thinking, one-story balcony, that should be good enough that I could like even take a nap outside, not really have to worry about animals just attacking me. So, oh, all three in has been playing 2 months. Well, congratulations on, or welcome to the game. Yeah, don't try to get too frustrated with the game right off the bat, and I recommend not playing it too much too. I don't know, some people create 2 accounts. I think who was it? Oh yeah, Shelly had that issue going where she created 2 accounts and she started just playing it way too much to death. So if you're just playing 1 account, I think that's probably the best way to go. Not to offer professional gaming advice. No, that's what I was wondering. As a professional gamer, can I offer professional gaming advice or do I still have to do the disclaimer? Yeah, we're just vaping some more of my homegrown. I might even be vaping some CBD soon. It's funny, I was growing CBD and I started my plants a bit early because I was like, oh, I'll put them outside. Get them started inside. And I fucked up the light cycle inside, so I accidentally put them into bud like way too soon. Like fucking a year too soon. So anyways, I got these like tiny little pot plants that are like barely a foot tall and they're already in bud. So annoying. But yeah, so I might end up with some CBD weed faster than I thought. No, thankfully all the plants didn't go into bud, just some of them, so. And I figured, hey, even the ones that went into bud too early, I'll probably still grow them outside during the summer and see if they'll just do a second bud cycle. Because some people said that you can actually get a plant to do 2 bud cycles, so hopefully that's what'll happen. I was watching a YouTube video today about someone bragging that they wanted to make like giant pots in the ground, but like digging like giant holes and then putting a tarp in like a pool and then putting pot plants in it to try to grow like a 14-foot tall pot plant. I was like, dear God, man, you don't have to go to all that extremes. Man, I just grew a plant, what was it, like, I don't know, 6-7 feet indoors before in the winter. So then when springtime came, I just put it outside. And then by the time it was done growing in the summer, it reached the same height. Like about 14, 15 feet tall. And the guy was bragging, oh yeah, you can get 10 pounds of weed off it. I'm like, 10 pounds? What are you fucking talking about? It's like when I grew a 14-foot tall pot plant, I weighed it on a luggage scale, and it was over 40 pounds. But that was wet. Obviously, when you dry it, most of the weight goes away. So I don't know if he was talking about 10 pounds dry or 10 pounds wet. Maybe he meant dry. And then once you grow that much weed, it's almost a stupid amount because then you have so much that you can never even finish it all. Unless you start getting into edibles and stuff. Yeah, maybe if you started eating it, you could finish it. Hey, Kura, how's it going? Oh yeah, I'm still stuck at the part where the enemy keeps healing. It's getting annoying. Yeah, I noticed that too. In the beginning, there's a lot of like teams that you face that just got really good healing and you can't beat the healer. The strategy I went is I tried to get someone who is really strong. And at your level, who you want to try to target, let's show the guys, the new guy or girl, that, or other gender, is not to make fun of other genders. No, we'll get into my dating life in a second. Alright, so let's see. Where are we going? Oh yeah, the best hero to get. Now, women on my mind these days. Alright, let's see. Dungeon, where is it? Darwin Lab. So if you go here, and or not Darwin Lab, idiot. Or yeah, it is. If you go to that and fire, check Samson. Once you get like a gold Samson, or even the red or purple Samson, you'll start to no longer have that problem where teams are just healing so much. Samson's one of those heroes, especially when you get him to gold. He'll just kill people in one hit. So it doesn't really matter how much they heal, because you can't heal dead, right? Once you're already dead, there's no healing. So yeah, that's a good solution to the whole healing dilemma. The only problem is once you take Samson and you upgrade him all the way to red, and you get Tengu, then Tengu starts to suck balls. Not in a good way. So yeah, that's a bit of a nightmare. Now I had the most awkward situation dating apps. I don't know if anyone else is guilty of doing it. When you're on a dating app, sometimes you don't actually read the profiles, but you just click yes, depending or not, if you find the person attractive. And like, oh, you just work out the details later. But yeah, it's a terrible, shallow way of doing it, but I'm sure I'm not the only one. So anyways, there was a bunch of girls that I thought were pretty cute, so I'm like, all right, we'll give them a like. And one of them responded back with a message. I was like, all right, gonna answer the message, maybe arrange a date. And it turned out that they were tranny. And I was like, oh shit, that's what you really get for not reading. Now, not that I have anything against tranny people, but no, it's surprising how common it is in dating apps now. I was always debating that with someone. I'm like, was trannies actually not common before, or they usually just hid it all the time? So they would pretend not to be tranny. Or maybe there actually is just more. No, I think our culture is kind of changing in a way, too. I don't think I'd ever say I'd found someone who's tranny attractive before, but I don't know. Not to say that things are changing that way, but... Now, I guess I am more open to the idea that it's not as shocking as it was before. Not that I actually would date someone tranny, but now I'm at least open to the idea that, yeah, some tranny people are actually pretty hot. Yeah, so I guess I'll have to be more careful. I don't want to message them back and get their hopes up that I was going to date them, and then I'm like, oh shit, I can't date tranny people. Sorry, I didn't read that. So maybe I just will ghost them. It's probably easier, best way to do it. And who knows, maybe this tranny person was the nicest person ever and I'm like ruining my life, but I don't know. For me, tranny thing is a little bit too much. Maybe in the future I'd consider it, but who knows? Now, it makes me wonder, too, growing up, especially in my generation where everyone would hide if they're tranny or not. So it makes you wonder how many people you knew that your whole life that actually were tranny and you just never knew. I'm sure some people's marriages worked out like that. No, I'm just kidding. I guess there's always a weird distinction, too, between tranny and actual hermaphrodite, where some people are tranny and they're not actually, like, multiple genders. They're just identifying as that, which I always thought was weird, because I always thought tranny meant that it was an actual biological difference. I didn't know some people are just tranny by identifying that way. So who knows? I didn't really ask the person the details on the dating app, if they were actually real tranny or just identifying. Who knows? But watch, it's actually a hot, like, supermodel who's identifying as a tranny person, but is actually all woman. You never know, I guess, right? I'll just hope that. No, to be fair, I don't really have any time for dating, so it's kind of ironic that I'm using dating sites and I'm the worst for it, because half the time if a woman actually wants to date, I have no time for it, so. And obviously I could make time, it's just, I don't know, I'm so guilty when it comes to being selfish with free time. I really don't like to share my free time doing stuff that I don't want to do, just because I start to notice that life is so limited, right? Like, God, it flashes by before your eyes and you really hardly have any time. Hey, Gusto, how's it going? Oh yeah, all in 3. Let's give the viewer a little bit more advice. Not that I'm a professional, well yeah, I guess I am a professional gamer, but excuse me. If you go to burn the scrolls, don't do it. Say the viewer was just talking about burning red scrolls. Don't burn the red scrolls, whatever you do. There's a trick in the game for when you're burning these scrolls, and you can actually get twice as many rewards. You're wondering, how the hell does that trick work? You just have to go to the limited events and wait till it's the scroll burning event. Because once it's the scroll burning event and then you burn the scrolls, you can get twice the rewards. So that's why if you're getting shit burning them, try not to burn them until you actually do it at the right time. And if you're wondering when is this clone event time, go to the guild. Well, if you're in my guild, thanks to, I'm not sure if it was Suki or someone else who wrote this, but yeah, here it gives the schedule. So it goes scroll burning event, then the infinite challenge and bounty bullets, then the casino, then the arena and the tavern. So just try to follow that advice if you want the most rewards, which if you have any sense in beating the game, that's definitely what you want. So is there an event today? I don't know. It depends maybe what server you're in, or maybe everyone's server does the events at the same time. I'm not even sure. But what you do is you go up here, you click limited event, or if you're on the cell phone, just touch it. So you click limited event, and then you look at this list. Right now, there's the Fighter Carnival and the Tavern. So the Tavern, every time you're doing the Tavern bonuses now, they give you double the rewards. And then here's the reward list. So that's what you got to watch for, is you're always trying to match when you're doing it at the right times. Because, yeah, obviously you can just burn the scrolls at any time you want, but it sucks if you burn them and you only get half the rewards, right? Like right now, I'm saving up a whole bunch of reds, and I'm going to try to do it in a double event. If anyone's even played Clone Evolution for a few months, they know that sometimes there'll be an event where you can burn your scrolls and get rewards. But sometimes there's a double reward, where it's like 4 times the rewards. So it's like not only is there the regular scroll burn, but then there's like extra hammers that you get or something. So that's what you really want to try to do too, is even when you're burning these scrolls, sure you can burn them when it's the scroll event, but if you wait till it's the double scroll event, oh man, you'll get like 4 times the reward. So that's what I try to do too, is when it goes around, I try to just burn a few scrolls in the scroll event. And when it comes around to a double scroll event, that's when I'll try. I think there was one that actually just passed, like the Easter event. It's like you get the regular event and then Easter rewards on top of it. Yeah, it's all about the multipliers, right? If anyone's played games with combo systems and multipliers, that's where the multiplier system is in this game. Burning the scrolls at the right times. No, don't feel bad if you fucked it up at the beginning. I think everyone makes that mistake. If anyone didn't make that mistake, probably George. George is like, oh, he aced it right off the bat. Now, I was thinking I'm going to make a video for George soon, where I'm like trimming my eyebrows. No, George really wants me to do a video of shaving my eyebrows to raise money, hopefully, not for nothing, but... So I was thinking, yeah, that's what I'll do soon, is I'll make like a little teaser where I'm like plucking out a few hairs off the edge. Yeah, and viewers, don't worry if I shave my eyebrows for charity or to raise money, whatever it is. I would definitely wear fake eyebrows. I'm not going to just wear no eyebrows. That'd be a little weird, to say the least. Until they grow back, right? No, and it's not for sure either. It would have to be a pretty good fundraiser, because I kind of like what limited hair I have left. No, I can't even say that with a straight face. If I could actually shave my entire body and have it never grow back, I would be very, very tempted. Alright, let's see. So yeah, I was thinking about the double Zorro system, and look who we need to make another Zorro. It's actually heroes we have. So we really just got to finish this guy. It seems like it's this guy that fucks us over every time. So I don't know if any of the viewers think the double Zorro is kind of a waste. I get it, because yeah, we're not going to use Zorros for anything but the dungeon. But damn, if we could use it to beat the dungeon, I think it would be worth it. I would think what I would do is I'd have a Zorro at the beginning, or maybe put Zorro here. Let's try that. And then just have another Zorro somewhere in the back, so that if he makes it to the end of the round, still anyone that hits the Zorro will just be dead. Yeah, if the new viewers are wondering what I'm talking... Oh, fuck, man. He died right off the bat, first hit? The fuck kind of shit was that? Oh, let's try putting lightning. Yeah, dodge is a pretty effective tool in this game. So if you ever want to build a dodge team, it's actually not that bad of an idea. Just focus on having like a lot of dodge. No, hypothetically, wouldn't it be weird if all of a sudden that building guy that lives in my neighborhood messages back, he's like, yeah, check the garage, looks good. We can demo the old roof, put on the new roof, and it's about half of what I was looking at for the other estimates, or even a third. Then I could put in the balcony. This builder was smart too. He's like, do you want me to design this so that it's ready for electricity hookups? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. That's the one thing I've realized, that the whole hydro hookup is going to be a lot harder than I first planned. So I might actually have to go solar, which sucks. Or maybe go wind or whatever, or a combination of wind and solar. Maybe even a generator. Yeah, because getting hooked up to the city line is going to be tough without the house finished. Because until I get the house finished, they're not going to want to run a line to a box. I can't just put a smart meter on the garage. I don't think so. I think I was reading online, they said in some extreme cases, they'll put a meter on the garage and just run a line right to it. So I can't throw in the towel and say there's no way to do it, but they could also say no, and they'd be like, no, you can't run hydro until the house is done, and then you can run the hydro off of the house's box. So that might be an issue. But I was thinking too, if I was forced to like go with the solar route or the wind and solar, just have like a battery that keeps charging, I could run everything I need except for the podcasting, which would be tough because I need like a lot of hydro to like properly podcast. But that's where I could do the generator thing. I could be like just run most of my day, like 99% of the day, off the regular solar panel. And then when it came time to sometime I had to do a podcast, then I would just start the generator. Which would kind of suck because then I'd be using gas in order to do the podcast. But yeah, you do what you gotta do, right? And the only other thing, I'll have to try to get a silent generator, or at least one that's a little bit quieter, because I don't want to piss my neighbors off by running generators throughout the middle of the night, right? It's like do a 2 a.m. podcast and all of a sudden I'll be running the generator and they're like, what the hell are you doing? And the other thing I realized too is if I don't have a proper hydro hookup, I can't have a fridge and freezer, and it's going to be hard to store weed. So I don't know, I'll have to figure out some way where I can keep my weed without it going bad so quick. Or I guess I'll be coming back to the city occasionally, so I can just grab my weed out of the freezer then. That won't be too bad. Now, luckily, I'll still have lots of family living in the city, so I can still leave stuff in the freezer if it's really that important. Now, I figure realistically, if I was to stay up north, I'd probably only stay up north during the summers. Winter would be pretty intense. Unless I really loved it up there, and then I'd be like, oh, fuck it, I guess I'll have to find ways to spend the winter. Now, I'm really looking forward to more gaming up north. It'd be funny to do episodes of Clone Evolution like on the edge of a mountain. Do a live stream Clone Evolution. I'll have to get better at live streaming with just a cell phone. Because I know I can play the game on the cell phone, but how the hell would I stream? Huh. Ah, Gusto's got some good information. Zorro doesn't work in Advanced Dungeon, his enemies always land hits. Yeah, that's how I was noticing. You ever notice that? It's like sometimes when you have a clone that's like really good dodge, they just don't dodge. So I was like, what the fuck's going on if they're not dodging? I was wondering if there was something to that. And then Gusto was saying that, yeah, in some cases, like the Advanced Dungeon, they actually don't dodge. So I don't know if that's like a problem with the coding and they haven't fixed it yet, or if that's actually how they intend it. Maybe they realize that people are using Zorro to just get way too far in the game, and they're like, hey, let's phase out some of that Zorro bullshit. Yeah, if anyone's wondering why I'm sucking the hose, pardon the pun, but my vapor tank for the vaporizer is full again already. So it's like, yeah, it filled with vapor oil, so I gotta do another drain. I might do another live stream drain where I like drain the vaporizer tank, show people what it's like. Oh yeah, and that was the other thing. I was vaporizing my vapor oil the other day, and I was trying to pinpoint the taste, because I'm like, you know what? That honey oil that the government's selling that's made from CO2 extract, it actually tastes very similar to my vapor oil. I never realized that. So when I was saying that the CO2 extract has an artificial flavor, I'm not sure that it is now. Because I was thinking, damn, my vapor oil is actually so close to it. It's just a little bit more bitter. I'd have to say the honey oil from the government is slightly sweeter. So I don't know how they got it a little bit sweeter, but it is the same general taste. I figured that it should be, because when you look at it, it is really the same substance. Like, comparing the two consistencies, it almost looks identical. Like, really, if it was in the same jar, like in that syringe or whatever it comes in, I don't know if I could tell the difference. I think mine's probably a little bit darker. Yeah, it's a little bit clearer. Fuck, man. I forget which battle are we playing here. Oh, thank God. I was like, man, this doesn't look right. Okay, we gotta pay attention, make sure we actually beat this level. Alright, where did we go wrong? I think with lightning. We need more attack. Where else did we go wrong? Holy fuck, man, that's a hard battle. Let's just see how that goes like that. We might have to bring Zorro in. Holy shit, we're at 7 viewers and 5 likes. Thanks, everyone. It's been a while. It's been a while. I don't know, I guess everyone heard the news about Elon and Twitter and all that stuff. Some people are asking my opinion on that, if I think it's a good idea or bad idea. Personally, I'm one of those people that tries to see a good and bad side to everyone. I'm not going to say that everyone or one person's like just pure evil or pure good, because I don't think that type of person really exists. So obviously Elon's got some bad and good to him. But to be honest, like, I'm almost terrified of Elon. As like, yeah, even when Bill Gates was saying we should be terrified of Elon, he does strike me as like the evil genius, like a Thomas Edison type. I actually really believe that he's, if there was any candidate for reincarnation, Elon Musk, I would guess, is the reincarnation of Thomas Edison. He looks identical to him. Everything he does is the same. He even tried to slander Tesla like Edison did with his battery technology. Like, Tesla was super anti-battery. So to start a company or buy a company called Tesla and force them to use batteries, that was like totally sacrilege. That'd be like buying the name of like a famous vegan and then using that name and opening a meat restaurant where all you sell is meat and you sell it under the vegan name. So that's basically what Elon's already done with Tesla company. So when he did this big plan with like Twitter or whatever, it kind of has that same vibe to it. And I often, like, I'm old enough, like other people that are like 70s or 80s kids, they were around when the internet first came out. So like we were talking about before, what is it? Discord is basically the ICQ of the ICQ when it was like a chat room just like Discord when the internet first came out. Hey Warzard, how's it going? Have I gotten any new heroes yet? Yes, we did make a new Alice, and we got her boosted into the other Alice, so now she's up to 3-star red. And I was surprised. I've seen how to make Alice 4-star red. It's not even that hard. So we might make her 4-star soon. That'd be fun. Yeah, so when it comes to Elon, I think he's gone the way of Napster. Or was it Napster? Yeah, I think it was Napster. And if anyone hasn't heard of Napster, it was basically the first like Pirate Bay that came out, and it was like sharing torrents and stuff. And the music industry hated it because like the music industry was at the point where they used to try to sell CDs all the time. They're creating all this plastic waste, selling all these CDs, just like destroying the environment. And they hated the idea of like digital music because they couldn't control it. So the record companies, they fought Napster with lawsuits after lawsuits, year after year. And eventually they got tired of fighting it, and they just like created their own streaming service. So the record companies had like their own like Pirate Bay or whatever, but no one would use it. Same thing how like Trump left and he created his own Twitter, but no one would use it. So what happened was the record companies finally pooled all their money together and then just bought Napster. So like, hey, fuck it, if we can't create our own service and get everyone to switch, we'll just force everyone to do what we want by buying the company. So that's basically what Elon's done. So what happened in the old days when people tried that with Napster, everyone just left. They're like, fuck it, man. If the record companies forced everyone to switch by buying Napster, they just quit using Napster. And then Napster went bankrupt. So that's what I kind of have the feeling that might happen with Twitter, but because really Twitter is just an echo chamber for people that hate Elon Musk, right? So why would anyone stay? Doesn't make any sense, right? It's kind of like video games. We're probably going to see that happen soon too. Everyone will try to force everyone to switch to cloud gaming, and everyone's going to be like, fuck it, we just don't want cloud gaming. And then yeah, eventually they'll buy the next best alternative to cloud gaming and try to convert it over to cloud. I don't know if anyone heard the big news from Sega. Like, what a shit show. I was like, oh, Sega, they're talking about coming back. They're coming back. Guess what their plan is to come back? Fucking cloud technology. I was like, you know what, Sega? If you come back with a console and it's cloud technology, you can take that thing and just throw it in the fucking trash. Like, I don't know, if they do a hybrid where it's like cloud and physical media, they'll be like, all right, I'm getting the new Sega. But man, if they try to force feed that cloud shit down our throats, I'm like, fuck that, man. Sega wants to do that shit, they've lost a customer. So I don't know, hopefully they'll listen to customers and be like, you know what, people really don't want cloud gaming. Like, I get it, if we all had free internet and it was like fiber optic for free and you never had any bandwidth issues, I'd be like, all right, let's jump on the cloud bandwagon. But until that day, like, I tried cloud gaming for my, NVIDIA Shield, and I played it a bit, the GeForce, whatever it's called, when it was free. Actually, during the beta. The beta was decent speeds. You gotta give it that. But as soon as the beta was over, the fucking speeds went to shit. And I fucking just couldn't stand it. I would never pay for that cloud gaming. It was so laggy. Except in beta. For some reason, beta was amazing. I don't know why beta works so much better. I guess because there's way less users. Fuck, man. There's like no way to beat this, or what am I going to do here? I can't see Genie actually winning. Let's try more healers. Holy fucking Ice Team Batman. I don't know. Use their own medicine against them. Try to freeze them. Let's try it. Now, if anyone's wondering how the retro gaming stuff has been going, I was getting a lot of work done hooking up my entire gaming setup. And I keep realizing I'm probably moving soon. So it's really slowed my pace down on finishing that. Because I'm like, man, I'm going to have to all unpack it soon. But who knows, maybe I will just try to finish it and then do a video of it all set up and finished and then take it all apart. Oh god. Oh well. So that's the one thing in life that I've always wanted, a garage or like my own place, is I was like, you know what, it'd be nice to have somewhere stable where I know I can like set stuff up and know that it's not just a few weeks away from having to move it all again. I don't know if anyone's ever jumped from apartment to apartment before. Man, it's never fun, right? Because it feels like you never really have a home, right? You're just always temporarily staying somewhere. Temporary, that's really something we should get all used to in life. Like the Tibetans, they got that thing where it's like people in life, we try to make everything permanent when everything is temporary. But we always make these illusions where everything's going to last forever. So I guess I don't want a living arrangement that lasts forever, but it'd be nice to have one that was a little bit more permanent. Oh yeah, that was the funny thing too. I was thinking, damn, if I ever got my life together where not only was the house and garage finished, ooh, almost had to cough there. Ooh. I was thinking it'd be sweet to actually set up a games room. I was watching some videos like YouTubers that set up a games room. Man, some of them set it up like an old bar from like the 80s where you go in, they have like a pinball machine, an arcade machine, dartboard, a bar set up with like sports on the TVs or whatever. It's like, oh man, it's pretty sick to have a games room. I know it's asking a lot, but man, who knows? Maybe that'll be one of my dreams in the future. Have an actual games room. I've had pretty close to games rooms, but usually it's always just like a living room with something else similar to a games room. And man, if I got my house finished up north, I would have enough room. Even the garage, I could probably fit maybe one arcade machine. Hey, what gremlin? How's it going? Today I'm doing a little better. No, I got into a bad rut where my uncle passed, and then wasn't really super depressed, but it was hard to get motivated and get out. I was just like staying home and sleeping all the time. I'd like wake up, go on the computer for a few hours, and then get tired, have a nap, just repeat that cycle, just not getting a life. So at least today I got my disc golf membership, got out of the house, got actually doing stuff again. It was kind of nice. My body, like when I wasn't sure how I was going to react to the exercise, because I've really been just like vegetating for like a month straight. But I did bike a few weeks ago, and I had a horrible go at it where my cardio was bad. But today when I biked, my cardio was actually recovered. So I was like, that last bike ride I did just like a week or two ago, I must have really gave it, because man, it got my cardio like right back. So I was like, finally. Well, I shouldn't say finally, I was like, that was fast. So yeah, next time I go biking, at least I won't have to worry about being out of breath. I don't know, for me, usually in the springtime, after like a long winter of not really doing much cardio work, it takes me about 2 to 3 weeks of biking before my cardio's back to full strength. So it's kind of neat. This year I can just skip that whole recovery process. I'm already back. But I definitely got the weight loss. I gotta lose like 10, 20 pounds, so it's gonna be a mission for that. No kidding around there. Fuck, my whole team's dying, but we killed so many of them. Think we should just let it slide? Yeah, thanks for dropping by. Gremlin says, yeah, he knows the feeling. Just drop by to give it a like. Yeah, I appreciate it. No, my channel's actually going to be taking a little bit of a turn differently this summer, where we're going to be going up north, doing some travel vlogging, meeting some of my friends up north, and even some viewers probably, so yeah, that'll be wild adventures. Oh yeah, and I got some clips ready of the guy staying in my garage, so we'll get to meet him. And he seems like a bit of an older guy, so maybe he's got some like information about the town's history and stuff, so hopefully we'll be able to do, it'd be funny if he's like a drinker. We could be like, all right, let's go and do an episode where we get drunk with some old guy. Well, we'll have to be careful about this. Get drunk with some old guy in his trailer. I don't like the way that video sounds like it's going. No, but we'll try to have a few reasonable drinks outside in the public with the old guy. And yeah, try to get some history. Alright, I don't like the way this battle's going. We're gonna have to restart it. It was looking like we almost had it, but fuck, fell apart right at the end there. Not to make fun of old guys, but Sometimes you gotta be watching those old guys. I say that as my hair grows grayer by the minute. Now I gotta try using the hair dye again. I got, what was it, beard dye, and then I just used it once and never again. I think it's already been all washed out by now, so I really gotta do it again. Now I've been watching some of my favorite YouTubers and how they've been dyeing their beards. Who is it, Russell Brand? He's starting to get into the beard dye. I noticed a lot of people that are dyeing their beards are adding in that red tinge to it. I was thinking that's kind of funny because my beard has actually started to go red on its own. But I didn't realize that, yeah, I got a lot of Celtic blood in my heritage and background, so I guess it kind of makes sense that my beard would start to grow a bit red, but it seems like a popular trend. A lot of people are like adding red. No, at least my red hair is like so faint that you can't really see it because there's hardly any strands, but it's probably like maybe 1% or 2% of the strands. And when it's mixed in with all the other colors, yeah, you can't tell. Did I get any more Intellivision stuff? You know, I haven't even finished the Intellivision videos. That's a good point. Let's do a little bit of a pause and we'll check. How is the game shelf looking? Woo! God, sometimes I see myself in regular resolution. I'm like, whoa! I really need to cut my hair. Alright, so what do we got for games? This shelf here, that one's all Intellivision. You can even see this purple one is Utopia. Bunch of Intellivision. And what are those? Skiing, baseball, and Donkey Kong. So that's a good selection of Intellivision there. Then this whole shelf on the bottom, I think right across. Yeah, that whole one there. It's all Intellivision games right across. We even got both of the Bomb or IntelliVoice games. Shit, we got the case for Burger Time, but no actual Burger Time. Yeah, and then we got all the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, shitloads of sports games. So yeah, so the Intellivision collection has definitely grown. And we also have the Intellivision Flashback, so we got to try that soon as well. So yeah, we got a ton of Intellivision content to do. Oh, that was the other thing. I don't know if anyone heard the somewhat sad news, but to be fair, like Tommy had been going on about his dad, and his dad was suffering for quite a while from what I gathered, doing the hospice care and all that. So yeah, not to be somber about it, but yeah, Tommy's dad actually died. So yeah, he died, I think, was it on the 22nd of this week or the 3rd? So not that everyone's life revolves around Intellivision, but yeah, when Tommy's dad died and now he can focus completely either on Video Games Live or the Amico, I think we're going to see a drastic change. Because I know, just even looking after my uncle, like the only thing I'm a little bit worried about is what happens if Tommy, after his dad dies, falls into some sort of bad addictions. Like I know for me, after my uncle died, I had the issues where I'm smoking and drinking way more than I should be, eating too much, video game addictions too much, social media. So yeah, after you deal with some sort of loss, there's definitely going to be some chance for some sort of relapse into some bad habits. So not to say that all of a sudden Intellivision's going to be saved now because Tommy can focus on what he's doing, but I think there's a chance that we'll see more from Amico now than ever, because hopefully Tommy's got his life together a little bit more than it was. Not to be mean about his dad's situation and everything, but yeah, that can really consume your life when you're like taking care of someone full time. I know all about it. So yeah, that's the one thing I was thinking. Oh yeah, and that was the other thing, shit, I found out too. It was always on a retro community because I got kicked out of the Facebook community for Amico. So I'm in this other retro gaming one and they occasionally talk about Intellivision. So someone posted a message that one of I don't know who this guy was. I think he's like some famous game developer. Well, he offered to make some games for Intellivision, like the Amico. And he requested a development kit, and they just ghosted him. So everyone in the community is like, what? They ghosted you? and he's like one of like some big time developer. From what I gather, I'd never heard of him, but I haven't heard of any developers, so that's what I was thinking. Someone was saying something was really weird going on about the Intellivision Amico game development process, because they were literally ghosting people when it came to getting the kits, even though like people in the community were willing to make the games for free. So I was like, wow, that's really weird. So I don't know if maybe that's just a whole bunch of hearsay and we're getting it wrong, especially hearing it from me as well, but so who knows, like maybe all these weird sketchy things that were happening with Amico, all that'll get cleared up now because there'll be a lot more focus on the project. What happened with me in the Facebook group for Amico is I was too critical of it, and to be fair, I was like watching Pat and Ian's videos too much. And I was convinced that because they had debt, that it meant that the project was canceled. And then I started to realize after watching No Swear Gamer for a while, I was like, wait a minute. I've been totally brainwashed by Pat and Ian to think it's doomsday. Just because the company has a little bit of debt isn't the end of the world. That like even No Swear Gamer was explaining it. He's like, just because you have debt, he's like, a lot of companies when they start, they go into debt for like the first year or even decades sometimes. And then eventually they start to profit. So I shouldn't have been so negative thinking that, dear God, Intellivision's $8 million in debt means they're going to be bankrupt. I know, I guess to be fair to Pat and Ian, like they are trying to warn people because they're trying to do the good guy thing, but the more I read the rules about investments, fraud and all that stuff, they got strict rules for that in the States, right? Like you're literally not supposed to like badmouth companies when they're trying to get off the ground. They got like all these rules against it where they're like, you can't bash a company while they're doing their startup. I didn't even know that. Like, I think it's to protect investors, right? Because investors invest all this money into a new startup company, and then what happens if someone just for fun or kicks or for some vendetta starts bad-mouthing the company and all their investors go bankrupt, right? So, not to like completely pick on Pat and Ian, but I was like, I never realized how badly they were doing that to the Amico. Like, I get it, the Amico really sucks. I don't really even like the idea, but still, to the point where you're like bashing it, telling people not to invest in it, like that is really taking it too far, right? I don't know, so you teach their own. Maybe they really did think they were helping people by telling them not to invest in their company, but I'm really shocked that there isn't some sort of lawsuit over it. The more I looked into it, I was like, holy shit, if I was at Intellivision, I would have totally had a lawyer contact Pat and Ian a long time ago. Just giving them the details, be like, here's a list of all the stuff you're doing that's illegal, and if you continue, we will press charges. I know like Pat and Ian are saying, oh, we were saying the price was different, and it turned out to be right. Well, it's like, yeah, but still, like you were still saying a price that was wrong, right? And as like a game company show or whatever, a YouTuber that's like the biggest on YouTube for video gamers, to be bad-mouthing a company repeatedly, like, Jesus. I never even realized it to the point myself, too. Like, I gotta be more careful when I talk about people, like, shit. Reading all the different libel laws, I was like, holy, no wonder people say allegedly all the time. Yeah, you really gotta be careful with what you say. That's where it's funny with, like, Elon Musk and the Twitter thing. Sure, you can say whatever you want on Twitter, but that's the thing. If you say something on Twitter, even if you're allowed to like post it on Twitter, authorities could still get involved, right? So technically, even if Elon makes free speech on Twitter, it's not really free speech. Because sure, you can say whatever you want, but the cops could still show up at your door for saying it, right? It's not like just because Elon comes in charge, all of a sudden the cops can't do anything. Obviously, the cops have Twitter too, and they'll be looking at all the tweets. They'll be like, hey, if there's any illegal tweets coming up, they got some jobs they can work on. That's how I think it's so funny when people are like, oh God, if Elon takes over, it's going to be all evil tweets. I'm like, don't worry, if it's illegal shit, the cops will have a fucking field day, right? They're literally sitting there waiting for someone to post illegal shit, right? They have entire teams of people that just watch YouTube. That's why when they joke about the YouTube police, that's not a joke. There's actually a police department that monitors YouTube. They have officers sitting there watching all the videos to make sure that whatever's illegal gets busted. It's fucked up. Yeah, I'm going to try to get back into watching Pat and Ian because, to be honest, I've noticed that I've taken a little bit personal spite out of it because I really like Tommy. I know people make fun of people that like Tommy, but he's been one of my heroes for years. And I did like Pat and Ian when they were making fun of the Amico at one point because I was making fun of the Amico too. I really didn't like the idea for a console, and I wanted Tommy to come up with a better console, something completely different from the Amico. But yeah, then I started to realize once like the investors are starting to lose all their money, I'm like, holy fuck, man, we really should just give the Amico a chance so at least the people could maybe not lose their life savings. And then if the console comes out and it's garbage and then everyone's lost their money already at that point, then yeah, then we can start bashing it, right? But I try to cut a little slack. No, but to be honest, I do miss the show. It's funny how jaded I got over the Amico thing, though. It's like I got so sick of hearing them talk about it. It's funny, too, because I completely flip-flopped, or they were my favorite show about the Amico. I think it's just because they went so negative on the whole idea of it. Like, sure, making fun of it and it could fail. Yeah, I'd be like, all right, let's do that. But to take it to the point where you're telling people that it's going to fail and don't invest in the company and screw over all the people that invested in it, I think that was like going a little too far. Yeah, it'll be neat to watch the show again because, yeah, I do kind of miss it. Although I have been watching other game shows and I found out some more information about AT Games and what's been happening with Arcade 1-Up and all that shit. Holy. So if anyone hasn't noticed, arcade machines have started to get more popular in the video game community. And what happened is it's like there's this company, Arcade 1-Up, and I think they actually pay for the licensing. So they can like license out all these different game machines and recreate these old arcades. And then there's the company that recreated the flashback of the Intellivision and the Coleco flashback, AT Games. They started making their own line of arcade machines. I think it's like Arcade 1-Up, main competitor, like AT Games Arcades or whatever. So what's happened is this Chinese company that's making arcade games isn't bothering to license them. So you can literally just put the ROMs on, put whatever you want. And now they're starting to destroy the Arcade 1-Up market. Because apparently Arcade 1-Up is having a hard time competing with them. Because people are like, why the hell would I buy an Arcade 1-Up machine when it only comes with like 1 or 2 games or whatever? Or I can just buy the Chinese knockoff. It's the identical parts. The only difference is they made it so you can put whatever ROMs you want on it. So they don't hinder you. So that's what I was thinking. Isn't it funny, like these copyrights and these companies that follow the copyrights, they literally design their electronics and their video games to hinder the consumer, to make it harder for them to use their own goddamn product. So that's how I was thinking. That's why I love a lot of these Chinese companies or wherever they're from that just totally don't follow the copyright system. I fucking can't stand copyrights. I really think like eventually in the world, some world leader is going to run on a platform where he's just going to say, fuck all the companies. We're doing a consumer rights party where everything this politician will do will just be like helping consumers. So we don't have to deal with all these companies constantly fucking us over. These copyright bullshits. Yeah, that'll be sweet. I'll vote for that leader, whoever it is. I know some cases copyrights are great, but I can't think of any. Yeah, I guess if you're an artist and you're releasing your stuff and you're really trying to jab people where you can't make enough off just like the Patreon and stuff, that you really got to hit them with the sales. Boom! Finally, another victory. Now, Pat and Ian, to be honest, the main thing I like about them too is they're really the opposite opinion on me on a lot of cases. So I like to hear the opposite point of view sometimes. it is kind of annoying when you're like listening to Joe Rogan's show all the time and you just agree with everything over and over and over again. You're like, oh fuck, wouldn't it be nice to just disagree with some of this shit for a change? Yeah, it's so funny to hear their views on politics when they add it in too. Like total Biden lovers. Now I could have swore that Pat and Ian would eventually like leave their love for Biden behind, like most sane people, but I don't know, like every politician. I've never really met any politician, well, I shouldn't say that, a couple, but there are very rare cases where they're nice politicians, but yeah, most cases, I still can't believe people are like loving politicians. Yeah, this whole idea that Trump's going to be back is so funny too, because everyone's like, oh, his supporters are turning on him because he keeps doing speeches where he's bragging that he was the one that pushed the vaccine or the thing on everyone. I was like, yeah, no kidding, he was. It was Operation Warp Speed. I can't believe how many people didn't even notice that. It's like Trump was the one who developed the drug, he was the one that forced it into everyone, and he was the one that locked down the economy to force it. And everyone's like, oh, I'm going to go get this to spite Trump. It's like, what are you fucking talking about, man? Trump's the one who loved it the most. Now, to be fair, I don't hate everything about Trump. I like his moon mission plan. Fucking kicks ass. So he wasn't all bad, but man, trying to force what drugs he wants me to inject. It's like, yeah, you can take your drugs, Trump, or whatever you want. Just don't try to force your shit into me. I don't give a shit what you inject into yourself. Yeah, looks like we got another victory. Alright, well this match wraps up quick. Looks like the shark guy is going to take forever. I'm just going to go grab my second beer from the fridge. I'll be right back. Hopefully this guy will survive a couple more hits. He's dead. I was going to get a cooler ready and just have all my beers, but I was like, fuck it. Standing up and stretching for a few seconds isn't the end of the world. It's what I actually need. No, and there is the rare occasion that I agree with Pat and Ian. And it's funny, too, because when it comes to Ian, some days I'm like, oh, God, I can never agree with Ian about anything. And then he'll start talking about what games he likes best. I'm like, oh, fuck. I agree with everything. No, but sometimes he does have really shitty taste in games too. Like when he talks about how much handheld games he loves. I'm like, dear God, man, like really? You love handheld games? I don't know, when I was growing up, like handheld games were not popular. Most people are like, what the fuck would you play a Game Boy or like a Game Gear for when you could just get a Nintendo and play it on your TV? I don't think when I was a kid that many people were actually addicted to like playing video games non-stop, where it's like you had to play them outdoors. It's like, dear God, man, if you're outside, just enjoy nature. Like, what the fuck are you playing video games for outside? Have I tried No Man's Sky? Not yet. I think I did watch the trailer for it when it was like premiering at E3 or something, but no, I haven't seen it since then. I might even actually have it in my collection. I've got such a big game collection. I've only played like maybe 10% of it. No, what happened is my roommate got into collecting video games because like the one day she went to a store and she bought a game. I think she got it for like 50 cents. Gave it to me and she's like, here, have this game. So I'm like, holy fuck, this game looks really rare. I'm going to go look it up. So I looked it up. It turned out to be Fire Emblem for GameCube. Yeah, so it turned out to be like a $300 game or whatever it is. Got it for 50 cents. So ever since then, she's just been like, holy fuck, I'm going to keep buying video games. I'm like, all right. So it's nice. Yeah, I keep getting a giant game collection given to me. I don't even have to pay for most of it. And I have to say, of my video game collection, I think I paid for the games of maybe $100 or $200 worth of the games. And that's probably maybe like 10 or 20 games. And the rest of like the, I don't know how many are on there now. Fuck, must be like 500. Yeah, so the rest was really just given as gifts. So that was pretty sweet. And games that I had when I was a kid. Luckily, I actually saved one binder of games. And I ended up making new cases. Because I'm like, man, I hate looking at it in the binder. Because the binder looks like it's damaging the games. So I just made new cases. And it's surprisingly easy these days to get all the case copies made and just buy some DVD cases, put them in, you're good to go. Just all you need is a printer. It used to be poop, but now it's super goated. Oh, so I'll have to check out No Man's Sky. No, the real thing, I know I always say this every time. If I get my place up north, and I'm staying like in a small community with like less, well, who am I talking? Like really the only thing I do outside is disc golf, but I guess because I'll have less disc golf to play, that I should have more free time. Let's hope. And every time I say that, I can't even say it with a straight face. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have free time. That's a good one. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I miss the days of being in like my teenage years and 20s. I'm like, oh god, I got all this free time. There's like nothing to do. I could just like play video games for like days on end. Oh man, those were the days. No, but realistically, who knows? I'll be up north and I might have more free time, so I'll be playing more video games. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. Now, that's what someone was telling me, like, oh, fuck, you're going to move way out to the middle of nowhere? How are you going to find anything to do? And then I was thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, it sounds so boring. And I was like, wait a minute, what do I do here? It's like most of the times I'm just sitting in a basement. So does it really matter where the basement is? Not to make fun of it, yeah, I occasionally go out, but not very often, right? Like 99% of the time. Fuck, now I start hurting the shark guy. Why was he impossible to hurt until round 49? We'll come back and we'll beat him. We'll just bring Monk. Monk will tear him a new one. Especially in these lockdown situations, that's when I really started to realize it. Like, if I'm locked down, it doesn't matter where I live. If I'm in the city, or if I'm in the country, or if I'm living on the moon. If I'm locked down for, hypothetically, 2-3 years, excuse it. So when I start, like, getting down in the dumps, that, oh, I'm going to live in a small town, it won't be a big city. I'm like, what exactly am I missing out on? Stricter lockdowns? Is that what I wanted? Now and then some people are going to be like, oh, you have more friends in the big city. Yeah, obviously I do got a lot more friends in the big city. But most of my friends in the big city, we don't hang out anymore. So I was like, what am I going to do? Stay in a city with lots of friends that I don't really hang out with? Or go up into a smaller city where I'll actually hang out with some people? Less friends, but ones I actually hang out with more. And not to mention, at the rate things are going, I keep meeting more and more people up north that seem like decent people to hang out with. So this idea that I won't have anyone to hang out with because I'm in a small town, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And it's not like I'll be leaving for good. I'm always going to have a room in the city I can come back to stay in. Sure, it's going to be a smaller room than the one I'm used to, but it's still a room. I was thinking, even if my brother ended up taking over the family house, he would probably put aside a room for me too. Hopefully. Might have just jinxed that. Oh yeah, that's the thing I was going to mention too. We had some other people that joined the Discord. Just be careful with what you post on Discord. I think they can be strict about the gun stuff too. So I know someone posted a picture of like a toy gun or a funny gun or whatever that was, but yeah, just be careful. I don't know, it was like a sniper rifle on a little tiny like pea shooter, or I don't know what that was, but antique gun. It looks hilarious, but I still think Discord will probably freak. Is that the final battle? No, it isn't, thank God. Alright, so we'll take Monk out of there, because he kind of sucks balls for these battles. Not in a good way. Let's try moving him over there. I don't think we need that poison guy anymore. Let's bring in Sekhmet, so we can really pack a punch. Alright, let's try that. No, Gremlin was asking, did we get anything good in the Easter event? I'm trying to think. I thought we got something good right at the end, but I can't remember what it was. And it wasn't that good. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, we got a pet house. And the pet house we opened, and it was a pretty shitty pet. No gold pet or anything. I was really hoping for a gold pet. No, how did the other viewers do? Did anyone get anything good? I know some people mentioned they got amazing rewards, so yeah, congratulations to everyone who got some good shit. Hey, old Stinger, how's it going? Yeah, so in the near future, we're going to get a full Sega video. I've got a whole shitload of new content on Sega. Oh, the last video game show I was watching is actually one of the questions that got through for Pat and Ian when I called into their show, or left them a message. Who was it, Pat? Or no, it was Ian. Ian was saying that when he answered the question, that he would like to see the light gun. You know, light gun technology we were just talking about? So that we could actually play the old retro gun games that we used to play. And if anyone doesn't know, that's actually how video games started off with. Is back in the day when consoles first started coming out, they couldn't sell people on just the regular game idea, like the Pong or whatever. So they always had to include some sort of light gun game. Because people are really into like target practice shooting. Alright, so this crashed. Let's do the sponsor stuff.
Today's catch-up video was brought to you by Crack. Crack! It'll fuck you up. Woo!
Alright, thanks again, patrons. I'll make sure to check Patreon one of these days. I know it's been a while since I checked. It's been a while. Suki, Dan, Jim, Ray, Travis, everyone on Patreon. Thanks a million. Oh yeah, we can do the Aerospace Center stuff too. Almost forgot. Alright, so Society 6, finishing quick, my specialty, t-shirts, bed sheets, both popular with the ladies. Ido TV, pays you to watch videos. Swag Bucks, it'll pay you to shop. GameKit will pay you to try games. And free Bitcoin. It's a wallet system for crypto. Just make sure you follow your regional laws, including for the virtual mate sex machine. It's for adults and men only. If ladies need a sex machine, they know who to call. I'm even getting out more. Alright, so $10 off on 150 or more at Virtual Mate with the coupon code LYNGBS. That's LYNBSN. Oh yeah, and also my website. Alright, let's go back to the game. Yeah, so we'll update the video, or we'll have to do the Intellivision flashback unboxing video. We'll have to do that one. I guess, yeah, to do that, we'll have to finish setting up my entertainment unit. I haven't even finished hooking up the stereo yet. I don't know if anyone's hooked up a modern stereo for gaming. Holy fuck, man. Stereos have changed so much. Back in my day, we used to buy drugs from gangs. Now we can just get it from the government. No, but really with the stereo in the days, like really you just had to plug in a couple wires, like red wire, white wire. You got stereo sound, good to go, right? And then stereos started to get a little bit more complicated, like fiber optic. It's like, oh, now you got like a whole separate digital sound. So you can start doing surround sound and all that. Oh, we got to consume the heroes. But the big one that's come out now is with the HDMI stereos, right? So when you get a stereo, they want you to take the video game HDMI output, put it into the stereo, and then the stereo to the TV. So that the stereo gets all the sound it needs from that HDMI cord. And it just does the video for you as well. So I think that's why a lot of the modern TVs these days, they barely come with any HDMI ports on the back anymore. And the reason is because you're only supposed to hook up one to the stereo, and then everything goes through the stereo. So I don't know, I guess it's not that confusing, but man, it's definitely different than what I'm used to. But the advantage to that, my stereo, I bought a higher end one, and it came with the HDMI out ×2. I'm hoping it's simultaneous out, but either way. So that way when I'm doing my streaming for video games, I can literally just turn on my stereo, be playing video games at home, and at any time I want, just be like, oh, start live streaming, and the signal goes right from my stereo to the computer once it's done being hooked up. So it will be one of the most advanced streaming setups for gaming I've ever used, even though this BlueStacks one is pretty advanced as well. But if anyone's done BlueStacks streaming, I like it. We've been doing it for over a year now, and it works pretty nice. Can't complain. They do come out with a new version of BlueStacks. I upgraded to it, but I tried to get Clone Evolution on it, and I couldn't. Like, I could get the game, but I couldn't get my old account. So I'm like, fuck, man. I can't switch over because I can't get it to load the right account. Now, if anyone's ever noticed, Clone Evolution has the most annoying as fuck way to log into a game. Like, if you go down to account and server and all that jazz. Oh, everyone can dox me now. I'm just kidding. No, that's the email I hardly ever use. So I got all this stuff linked, but when I go to like start a new Clone account on a different device, and when I click these, it doesn't work. So I can't remember if I tried the Leland review one, Google ID. Facebook looks like it isn't linked properly. Because look, it says linked here, but not there. So I don't know. Hopefully at some point we get it figured out. Now I hope no one hacks my game after I just gave all that information. Damn you hackers. Now, it's kind of funny to me, like another thing back in the old days, doxing was kind of funny thing to even discuss because everyone had a phone book. And as long as you knew someone's name, you knew everything. You knew where they lived, you knew their phone number. Sometimes you could even find out where they worked, right? So this idea that everyone tries to hide where they live, I get it, why? Because they don't want to get robbed, but it seems so weird. Coming from a society where it's like, yeah, everyone had a book that said everyone's address and everything. I think in the old days you could pay money to be unlisted, so then they wouldn't put you in the phone book. Just in case, yeah, that would be your way of hiding, so that if you didn't want to get doxxed, you could pay the phone company not to publish your information. Holy, Old Stinger got a pet, something else. Yeah, lucky. Yeah, if you got a gold pet, that'd be sweet. I fucking love the gold pets in this game. There's some good ones. I definitely need more. Oh yeah, if anyone's wondering how the disc golf game went today, I was surprised. I brought 2 discs I'd never tried before. Tried them out. One was horrible and one was okay. So I'll probably go back to using regular discs. Oh yeah, and I got some new disc golf gloves, and fuck, man. They were so good. I was like, oh my god, this is almost so good it should be illegal. So I'll have to check with the disc golf rules. Maybe they do ban those type of gloves. Because I got these gloves that are like worker gloves for like fine mechanic work, and they're like super sticky. So when I touched the disc, it was like glue. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like compare it to a regular glove, it was like night and day. All right, we got our hands on a big chest. Gold chest, not big. Alright, some of the new hero stuff that we're working on, a lot of people are wondering what new heroes we got coming. We got to unlock Peaceman off this. As soon as we do, we got a new red. We can make another Frankenstein. And then we're going to pump a level into someone to turn them red star. And we're probably going to go with Genie. Everyone's doing it saying, yeah, make Genie red, make Genie red. So yeah, we'll make Genie red star, I think. And after that, oh yeah, forget, someone was asking what new heroes we made. I forgot to mention, we also made Red Riding Hood. She's not really that good for anything, but I just made her because we had all the ingredients too, and I was like, why not? Oh, and we got the extra gold frags, so we might be burning those this Thursday. I think we got another scroll event. Excuse me. Oh, we got 3 of those heroes, 1 of those. Now, what we've been trying to do is buy some more fragments of heroes. Oh, yeah. So that's 1, 5. So now we've got 3, 1, and 1. So it's not very good yet, but once we get these boosted up more, we'll make another gold Sunstar hero. Yeah, I should have really did these first. It's funny, it's the tavern is always the one I do last, and it's the one you're supposed to do first. Why do I always have to do things backwards? Now, that's kind of why I like Jeopardy. Jeopardy is one of those shows where they do things backwards, right? They give you the answer and you have to try to figure out the question. Now, I used to be really good, well, average at Jeopardy, and ever since my accident, I've had really poor recall speed. But I heard if you watch it and practice it, you can actually speed up the recall speed again. So I'll have to try to get back into watching Jeopardy. I heard there was a Canadian woman who was like just cleaning up on Jeopardy. I remember I used to watch when Ken Jennings was cleaning up. Oh man, he was good. I'll never forget the day I was watching Jeopardy. Ken Jennings actually got a question wrong, and I knew the answer to it. I was like, I gotta be fucking kidding me. And it was the question about seahorses. He didn't know that male seahorses actually carry the offspring. So when everyone makes fun of the men carrying babies, it actually does happen. Not just in humans, but in seahorses. Now, I can't remember what the question was, but I remember I knew the answer. Alright, so what should we do next? Oh yeah, the aerospace. Yeah, it looks like everyone's asleep. We did go to this, and we battled the boss, I think. Have they moved us on to the next one, or is this still the same thing? Oh, is it giving us the option to go to the next one? No, not yet. Do we want to change our team at all? Yes. We do not want her in there. Let's put little Red Riding Hood. There we go. That's a bit better. We've really phased out all the gold heroes in our teams, except for Gus and him. Those two actually aren't too bad still. Ooh, this one looks like a good one. Ooh, challenge. Alright, let's go for it. I think we got a chance. Famous last words. No, so if I had to guess what's going to happen with the Intellivision Amico, Tommy's probably going to go through at least a few months of like really rocky times. Like I'm thinking he'll probably hit rock bottom. I don't know, I watched like the post about how much time he spent with his dad. I never realized how close they were. I was like, holy shit, man. His dad and him were like twins. So yeah, he's probably going to get hit hard by that, but I don't know, hopefully within like 6 months to a year, then he'll get back on his steady or back stable life, and we'll see the Amico and Intellivision bounce back. I'm thinking too, like I'm at the point now where I just want the Amico to come out, get bad reviews or good, and be done with it so that we can start looking on to like the next Intellivision. I'm not really a big fan of the Amico at all, but the idea of more Intellivisions, I don't mind. I like the Intellivision company. Now, maybe I'll try to do a guest show coming up soon too. There's actually a really nice woman that I met on Facebook who we're scheduling a show together. I think we're going to be talking about demons, so I'm a little bit nervous, but I don't know, man. Last time we started getting into those demonic shows, I actually started getting nightmares over it. I was like, holy fuck, man. This is really some intense shit once you get into the demonology. That's why I started to realize where Freddy Krueger and that whole dream stuff with demons, that must come from some sort of actual history. Not about Freddy Krueger, but just about demons and dreams in general. Yeah, Lemon Grab is playing Roblox. Did we win the last one? Oh, we won that one. Ah, we froze their whole team. Take that. Oh, just as I said that, we're done. Oh yeah, what am I kidding? We're gonna get slaughtered by this team. We're lucky we froze them while we did. Oh yeah, I had the funniest news. Last year, I went on this sobriety binge, and I stopped going to play disc golf. Hey, guess what happened after I left the disc golf course? My favorite YouTuber came to visit the disc golf course. So I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I watched his show for years and years and years, and right when he came to right where I was playing every day, I stopped going. So I went to the YouTube channel just to catch up what's been happening, and I watched the whole series where he came and hung out in my city. I was like, fuck. How annoying. Oh well. But I thought that was kind of funny. Like, what are the odds of that? I start watching a guy because he's a YouTuber living in Thailand, experimenting with radical diets. So I started watching his show. And then next thing I know, I find out he's a Canadian. So I'm like, aha, that's kind of funny. And then he moves back to Canada. So I was like, oh, that was kind of boring. Kind of wish he would have stayed in Thailand, but still kept watching him. And then after, he ends up visiting the city I freaking live in. I'm like, wow, that's weird. And he goes right to the disc golf course I play every day. And he gave it a pretty shitty review, but he said it was okay. I can imagine he's got high hopes because he's from Toronto, and yeah, in the big city, everything is a little better. Come to a small shit-ass town, yeah, it's not going to be that great. Yeah, this one's going to be a hard one. I don't think we're going to win this one. I tried it just for the fun of it. Yeah, so if anyone wants to see a YouTuber come visit my city and see his opinion, he called it Kitchener, the worst city in Canada. No, I think that's literally what he called it. Or Kitchener Waterloo, worst city in Canada. I think that's what he called it. No, what happened was when he came to visit my city, I know my city set it up kind of dumb. Who knows? Maybe they did it on purpose, but they literally put like the bus station where you get off the bus from other cities, so it's the first thing you see, and they made it at the homeless camp. So it's like literally you get off the bus and the first thing you see is a giant homeless camp. I'm talking like Skid Row, like California, hundreds of tents, people living in the worst poverty conditions you can imagine. Literally people overdosing and dying on the street corner like daily. People's lives ruined by the carbon tax and the lockdowns. It's fucking devastating to see what the lockdowns and the carbon tax have done to Canadians, but yeah, and the tent city just keeps growing bigger and bigger. More and more people becoming addicts, just giving up. But yeah, as soon as you get off the bus, that's literally the first thing you see. So I was thinking that, like anyone who's never been to our city before, they're kind of going to get a bad impression, right? Like they get off the bus and it's literally just a giant homeless camp for like miles of people living in tents. So I'm like, yeah, that's probably not the greatest impression. Oh yeah, and then when he went around from there, it's like everywhere around there is like addicts, right? So he's like, is everyone in this town on crack? And I was like, well, you literally are in the Crackville, right? Like where everyone is on crack or other drugs of different types. So that's kind of why I think he got the worst city in Canada reputation to put in the video. It's because, yeah, you get there, you're walking around Skid Row, everyone you talk to is on crack. They really kind of got to design that differently maybe, right? Not to make fun of it, it's a horrible situation, but I was thinking maybe I should do a YouTube video and show what's happened to Canada, like what Justin Trudeau's policies have done to regular Canadians' lives, and how like giant homeless populations are just exploding across the country so that we can cut back on carbon. They say that's actually part of the thing. People that live in tents don't fly on jets. So that there's many people that they can make homeless to live in jets, then they can finish their carbon agenda. Or they'll reduce carbon so low that you're living in a fucking tent. I don't know whoever signed up us to that plan, but dear God. Shouldn't make fun of it, man, but yeah, living in a tent in Canada, can you think of a worse situation? Like I could see if you're living in a tent in California, at least you have a chance at survival with the elements, right? Because you're fucking in like the desert, so it's not going to be freezing cold that much. But yeah, try doing it in Canada, where like people are literally dying every day from the cold, especially in the winter. I don't know if anyone heard the news, but France is basically in the same situation where their tent cities are growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and they got this crazy lunatic in charge of the country who's just like driving them into poverty further and further. But they had an election and the guy still won, but on a narrowly one vote. So they say it's like the same thing in every country now, where like the countries are literally split half and half. Canada, it's not even a half and half split anymore. They said 70% of people voted to get Justin Trudeau out of office, but he only needed to get 30 to keep office. So he literally got 30% of the votes and managed to stay in power. So he has 70% of the country against him. It's kind of funny when you word it like that, right? So all these other countries, I don't know how much they have to vote to get the people out of power, but hopefully it's not the same as Canada, where you have to get like over 70% of the votes in order to turn it. Now, and all the best to France. I get the feeling too, it really didn't matter which party wins. It's really the globalists that tell us what to do either way. So it doesn't really matter if a left party or right party wins. It's the same shit show. We're fucked either way, not in a good way. Or maybe both ways. Excuse me. Sorry, it's the beer's fault. That had nothing to do with it. Alright, does anyone want to see the clip? Let's do it. We'll take a little break from the show, not for long. Clip's only like a few seconds long. See, where do I got it? I think I put it in my house folder. Here it is. So we'll get a sneak peek about the little travel vlog that we'll be doing. And this will be the guy that I'll be going to visit, who's actually been living in my garage. Well, I shouldn't say he's been living in it. When I watch the video more, I'm like, he's not really living in my garage. He's just using it for storage. So let's check out how he was using it for storage.
Plafond.
Oh, and there's the dog.
Arranger ça, le poêle est fini, j'en ai fait en banlieue avec une cheminée neuve.
So there's my neighbor's dogs. I'm not sure who that guy was. I think that the younger guy might be one of the guys that he follows my research for ancient mystery stuff. Or it could be related to the old guy. I don't even know. Yeah, so that's my garage. Doesn't look that bad of shape, though. When I was looking at it, I'm like, you know what? As much as I say my garage is really bad, maybe that one is fixable. It looks like my neighbor got new siding. And that's the trailer. Yeah, let's pause it. So isn't that weird that the old guy in this video, he literally... How come the frames aren't moving when I'm pressing it? It just stops, eh? What's with the video? Why is it doing that? Alright, so you see the two dogs and that trailer? He's got like a furnace. Oh, and he's got solar panels. Yeah, so that guy's got a pretty sweet setup when you think about it. Oh, I'm not even on the video, sorry. Here I'm trying to show everyone, I'm on the wrong screen. So yeah, so there's the two dogs of the guy that's living in the, or using my garage for storage. There's his trailer. He's got solar panels and he's got a stove. Like that looks like a wood stove, right? So someone was telling me he's probably got a washroom in there. That'd be amazing, eh? Man, that'd be a tight living situation, I think, though. Two dogs, an old man, all in a trailer. Yeah, so there's the guy. I think I'll probably be hanging out with him in the summer, if that's the guy that I think it is.
What?
I'm not sure whose ATV that is. Or whose trailer and truck that is. This is actually my driveway. It's funny how many people are like at my house and I haven't been there in years. There's like entire communities of people using it. Two dogs are living in there. I don't know. It's going to be a wild adventure. Yes, victory. Now, for a while there, I was getting stressed out about going on that trip, but man, nothing in life is easy that's worth doing, so hopefully this will be a difficult trip, but it'll be fruitful. So can you imagine if I get a roof on that garage, we start doing Clone Evolution streams from the middle of nowhere up north? That could be the future. Yeah, who knows, man. When I meet this guy that's living in my garage or storaging it, he might be able to help me out more than I realize, and I could definitely use a lot of help. So I know some people are probably thinking, oh, I should be mad at that guy because he started staying in my garage. But I just try to look at it on the positive side, and yeah, maybe things will work out for the best anyways. It just seems like a bit of a rocky start. Sort of like Clone Evolution. When you start your team off, it seems very rocky, but even if you make some bad mistakes in the beginning, you can turn it around. I remember I used to get so upset because I burned some Robin fragments by accident. I was like, oh, I wasted Robin. And now at this point in the game, I can burn Robins anytime I want. It doesn't even matter. So it's like, man, so many times in life we get down the dumps thinking, oh, it was such a disaster, what happened? And then 10 years later you look back, you're like, fuck, that didn't even matter. It's really a perspective thing, right? We get too caught up in the moment. Oh, it's such a nightmare. Hey, that's the weirdest thing about memory. I don't know if anyone else gets this issue, but when I look back in my life and I try to remember stuff, it's usually the bad things that I can remember the easiest. Everything else that was like good things that happened, it's like I can barely remember it. But damn, everything that went wrong, I can remember that so clearly. Which is probably for the best. If you remember your mistakes, hopefully it'll help you not repeat them. Yeah, so an hour 42. Oh, one of the other things I was thinking that I'll be able to do up north to keep busy, not just playing Clone Evolution on the computer all day, but they actually have a ski hill that's about, I don't know, 15, 20-minute bike ride from my house. And I was thinking, man, that'd be kind of fun. Maybe we'll do a vlog trip where I'll try to get to the top of the ski hill. I was actually asking them if they have any bike trails open in the summer. And they said no, because the water prevents anyone from getting. I was like, really? I'm going to come down and check it out. And they never responded. So I don't know if it's true that you really can't get to the top of the ski hill unless it's winter, because you have to cross a pond. I was thinking, yeah, right, there's probably just a trail around the pond. There's no way someone didn't put a trail around it. Unless the pond is like so big that there's no way they could put a trail around it. But I was like, yeah, right. Can't be that big. Oh yeah, and if any of the viewers want to get a little sneak peek of one of the webcams, I was thinking that, like, when I'm up north, I'm going to need a way to make passive income. Where I'm staying up north, I'm living the life, sitting on the balcony, looking at the mountains, but really there's not going to be a lot of opportunity for jobs that I can think of yet. Other than just, yeah, if I can get basic work. But one of the ways I can make passive income, if I have the internet and electricity, that's two big ifs, then I could set up a webcam stream. And obviously a lot of people do the naked webcamming stuff, but what I'm talking about for this one is actually do nature camming. Because you know, sometimes people put up a camera where there's really nice nature. So a lot of people that look at the place that I bought up north, like, God, such a rundown house, such a bad shaped garage, even flooding issues. Why would you get a house there? It was because there was some demonic possession stuff going on at that house that I had to investigate. So figured the best way to investigate it was to buy it, especially because I could afford it and it was cheap at the time. And the other reason was because of this. Let's show you. So there's the location of where my house is. It's near the mountain, and it's also near the ancient Stonehenge, and it's also near a place called Pearl Beach. And Pearl Beach is basically the oldest signs of human civilization in the world. It like dates back to like just after the Ice Age, or one of the oldest. So yeah, that's some of the stuff I'll be doing there, not just video game stuff. But if I have my house here and I set up an antenna, or not an antenna, a tower, not a big tower, just like an antenna tower. And instead of putting an antenna at the top, what I plan to do is put a webcam. And I'll show you the view that I'll show people. So if anyone wants to watch a webcam and help support my work, then you can do it. So one camera is going to aim to the east, and it's going to show the mountain. So that's the one view that it'll look. And at night, that's going to look sick. I was thinking if I can do like some star lapse videos with it, or even like night vision, it'll look sick. And the other direction is, let's see. That's a pretty good one. Let's try that one. Yeah, so this is the other direction, looking down into the lake. So I think either of those webcams, they might actually do pretty good. Like that's actually a really nice view of the lake from that angle. And the fact that I could look at the mountain and the lake just from where this house is, it's really prime location. At least for the tower. For avoiding flooding, probably not so much. Now that's one thing I'm really paranoid. If I do fix my garage up here, look how close the river is, right? If there's ever a bad flood, my house is going to be one of the first to go. Yeah. The joys of buying land near a river, right? But I think that'll go a long way to like boosting my spirits, is having so many cool new projects to work on in life. Not just be sitting in a basement every day. Not that there's anything wrong with sitting in a basement every day, but it does get to be a bit much if you did it your whole life, right? And pretty much if you do anything your whole life, you're going to want to change it up at some point. Or maybe you love what you did so much you just want to keep doing the same thing over and over, but to each their own. Oh yeah, and if anyone wants to see the ski hill I was talking about, and the pond that apparently you can't get over. So there's a little ski hill. It's like a 20-minute bike ride from where I'll be living up north. And there's the pond, which apparently blocks people from getting to the top unless it's winter. I was thinking there's probably a trail that goes around the edge. No, my vaporizer isn't working the greatest lately. I think I might actually have to get a new one. It's the one downfall when you get the Extreme Q. It's got a pretty good warranty on it, but I've noticed after I use it for about a year or two, it does eventually break. Usually what happens is the heating element coil starts acting up, and I've actually broke it in two different ways. One time I broke it and it just stopped working, so I was like, oh, that sucked. They said that's a common one. And the other time I was using it and it broke, it just wouldn't, the temperature control wouldn't work anymore. So I couldn't control what temperature it was going to. So that also made it unusable. But they're usually around $100 to replace, so it's not that bad if you get them on sale. If you get a few years out of it for $100, that's not that bad. I noticed they got, they got a new model that's pretty fancy looking, but the basics of it are still the same components. Oh, 3N, he just came back. He was in class. Oh, lucky. Now, anyone that's in school, try to enjoy it while it lasts. I know when I was in school, I could always hardly wait till school is over. And then when school's over, you're like, oh, fuck. School is really where it's at. I know, it's still to this day, like in my mid-40s, I'll have dreams where I'm in school again. I'm just loving it. I think it's because for me, school was always very social. Where for like high school and stuff, I really just went for the parties. I didn't really care much about the classes. It was just like whatever class had the hottest chicks or whatever class had the easiest classes to pass. Which didn't really work out long term, but hey, if you're in a short term life situation, you never know, right? That's why I kind of feel bad. Like everyone's trying to be a good example and be like, oh, stay in school, make sure you concentrate, get all these good grades. But you never know. Sometimes people go to school and they fuck up and they just party all the time and then they die in a car accident. It's like, well, so what would have mattered if they would have studied that whole time and then died in a car accident? It's like, so I get it. It's like people should try to like focus and do good in school and get all these good grades and stuff, but really you got to remember there's more to life than just good grades. You get all the good grades in the world and still die tomorrow. But you don't want to live like there's no tomorrow, because if you don't plan for the future, then that's what I think too. Like when I look back at some of my friends that spent their whole lives in school preparing for the future, and yeah, some horrible accident. So you just never know. But I guess it is the safe bet, right? Just bet on the idea that if you get all these good grades in school, then everything's going to go great. I think it's really a happy medium where you can sort of like make sure you get all your grades done, but try to live a good life too. Not that it's just 99% school all the time. You never know though. Like I look at one of my cousins, he really like buckled down and he was in school like 99% of his life. And when he wasn't in school, he was just working his ass off. I think he was actually like washing dishes in a restaurant. But guess how his life turned out? He was one of the lucky ones that school actually went well and he got a job doing what he loves. So now he like makes movies for like History Channel, or I guess TV shows. Yeah, so sometimes it does work out. He even worked for Vice for a while. That's why I kind of laugh when people make fun of the people that make the documentaries at History Channel. I'm like, hey, go easy on those guys. It's actually my family making those. Yeah, so you never know, right? Like a lot of people made fun of my cousin because he just never partied, and well, maybe he partied a little, but yeah, he was always so school. And it did work out. Now, it just kills me sometimes that people spend their whole life at school and then it doesn't work out. It's like, oh, God, man. It's a pretty risky endeavor, but... yeah, the biggest problem they're starting to have in school, I don't know if anyone's heard about it, is back in the old days, like my generation, like year 2000s, 90s, 80s, if they ever tried to ask kids what they wanted to be, guess what kids would say? They would always want to be a doctor. And you know why? Because most kids always thought of a doctor as the greatest job you could ever have. Because you'd be making all this money, saving all these lives, all that jazz. But guess what happens when they poll kids today? They said 99% of kids, when they ask them what they want to be when they grow up, everyone wants to be a YouTuber. So they said that it's really starting to affect how schools work, right? Because no one wants to go to school to be all these different jobs anymore. Everyone's like, yeah, I just want to be a YouTuber. So that's going to be a weird thing in the future, right? Like, I don't know, maybe YouTube will expand so that everyone's different fields will be on YouTube anyway. So you could really do anything and still be a YouTuber at the same time. Yeah, the younger generation, as much as they make fun of it and having all these hard times right now, I think the new generation is going to be like the super soldier generation. Some sort of kids that actually grew up in actual hard times and are going to be a little bit tougher for it. We've really had a lot of generations of kids that are just watching TV and playing video games for like, what, 10, 20, even 30 years? Fuck. So now that there's actually pandemics and it's hard to get a job and it's, well, I shouldn't say it's hard to get a job. It's hard to get enough money to buy a house. It's finally a challenge again. It's been so easy for so long that everyone got so soft. Looking at myself here. Yeah, let's try this battle one more time. I guess we're running out of battles here. We'll have to wrap up soon. Let's give a shout out to everyone in the chat. So Steadfast, thanks again. All in 3. He did his show or he did his school and came back. Yeah, so remember kids, it is good to stay in school, but just remember, don't just focus only on school. Yeah, that's the one thing that really pissed me off with school, is how many kids that I know that went to university and college, got all these expensive degrees or paperwork, and they ended up getting a job in the same factory that people that didn't go to school. So they just had a huge debt to pay off, and they got the same job anyway. But you never know, like you could be my cousin and it works out amazing and you just get like the job of your dreams. I think he even traveled to China the last I checked. Oh yeah, did anyone hear the news with China? I probably shouldn't get into it too much, but well, let's finish giving a shout out to the viewers. All in 3, Augusto, Kura, Warzard the Board Time Lord, What Gremlin, Old Stinger 11. Holy shit, a whole bunch of people. So thanks everyone. Yeah, so what happened is I actually got family that's from China, like born and raised there, family still lives there, and they just immigrated to Canada. So yeah, I talked to him, I'm like, hey man, what's the deal with happening in China now? Starting to hear a lot of weird stuff about people getting like tortured or whatever and starved to death and all this stuff. So he was like, yeah, what happened is in China, when they did the lockdowns the first time around, they said 2 weeks of lockdowns. They did them very isolated areas, like just like, what was it, Wuhan or whatever cities they locked down. And it was really only 2 weeks. So everyone in China got off easy, where they're like, all right, 2 weeks, it's over. The Chinese government actually held up their part of the bargain on that, where most of the other countries didn't, right? They just locked down for years. So anyways, what happened is everyone in China, when they talked about doing it again, they all thought that it was just going to be 2 weeks again, like the first time. So a lot of people, they literally only prepared like enough food for 2 weeks. So they went out shopping, got 2 weeks of food, came back, and they're like, all right, government's saying 2 weeks, that's all we need food for. And then sadly what happened is the government decided to extend the lockdown farther after the 2 weeks, and they didn't give anyone time to go shopping again. So everyone was still stuck at home, and then they only had enough food for 2 weeks. And then I think what it is, yeah, like they're so strict with the lockdowns that some people actually starved rather than risk getting caught leaving the lockdown, right? So I found that really weird because I was like, how long would you really have to be without food before you'd starve, right? Like, maybe in China you'd already be skinny, but I think if they did that in North America, like, people could probably last 6 months on the amount of obesity we have, right? But anyways, yeah, that China stuff started to get really bad. And they said that even the people started to rebel because they're like, yo, there's like way more people that have died from the lockdown than the actual virus. And the Chinese government, that was what happened the first time around. They never forced them to take the mRNA stuff we're not allowed to talk about, right? So the entire country got off scot-free without getting forced to take the jab. And they had almost no death ratio anywhere close to what other countries had. They got off with almost nobody dying. So that's how I was like, holy shit, man, how did China manage that, right? So anyways, this time around, same thing's happening. Even though they didn't get forced to take the jabs, they still had like almost nobody die from it. So they're like, holy shit, like, how is their government getting away with locking people inside, starving them to death, when the virus itself is barely killing anyone? It's like almost nobody. So it's like, holy shit, right? Like, so I asked him, like, why is China doing that? And you know what he told me, which I thought was a really interesting perspective. He's like, the government really doesn't care at all about the virus in China. They never did the first time around, and they don't now either. He's like, the only reason they're doing these lockdowns has nothing to do with the virus. And I'm like, well, what the fuck are you talking about, right? He's like, the Taiwan war. He's like, the government is preparing for the war. He's like, the main reason they're doing all these lockdowns in China is they started boosting local food production. So he's like, in China, they used to import food like crazy. So it's like the country was literally reliant on all the other countries to bring food to them because they didn't have enough, right? So he said ever since these lockdowns in China and stuff, they crippled or they locked down, but they made everything local. So they switched their economy over to making all the food local. So that all of a sudden they don't have to worry about exports and imports and all that. So that if there's ever like a trade tariff or what they were talking about, sanctions against Russia, China is preparing for sanctions. That's why. So I was like, oh, that would make a lot more sense, right? Like, not to make fun of the World Health Organization, CDC. Obviously, we have to agree with everything they say or be killed. But yeah, it's like, isn't that a weird perspective? I never even thought of it. And I was like, well, how does like locking everyone down prepare for the war, like being stuck indoors? He's like, usually that's what happens when you go to like a severe war. He's like, especially in Asia, they kept getting bombed all the time. So he's like, a lot of times when there'd be like a war that breaks out, you'd have to get everyone to stay inside and like hide for like weeks or even months at a time. Maybe even years, however long this war goes. So he says that's why China's been preparing and locking their people down. They're getting them used to being locked in for the Taiwan war. Which I thought was a pretty wild idea, but that's actually someone from China. That's what they think is happening. And obviously there's lots of people in China, and everyone's probably got different opinions, but it was just kind of interesting. And the guy that was telling me this, his IQ is like off the charts, like one of the smartest people I've ever met. So for him to be from China and saying that, I take it with a pretty high grain of credibility. Now, hopefully there isn't a war with Taiwan coming, but it really makes you wonder if that's what some people think it is that are from the country. Now, obviously, some people are going to disagree with the Chinese not being forced to take that. What it was is they made their own, and it didn't use mRNA. So they just like basically injected sugar water. Some people said it actually didn't do anything for the virus, that it was just like a joke. So they could tell the world community that they actually did take something, even though it wasn't actually proven to work at all. Who knows? Maybe the one they took actually worked better. It could be. Would explain why they had such low deaths. Well, actually, that wouldn't either, because they didn't get it till after the low deaths occurred. Now, I have to be fair, too, because a lot of times they said the people in China had it easy. So, obviously, this round of lockdowns, they did have it worse. Ooh, that was a pretty good battle. Yeah, I get a little bit scared for the people in China, but then again, I think, man, Chinese people are very resilient. Not to make blatant statements that all people from one culture are the same, but damn, you look at the history of China, and they've encountered one or two hardships, and at least, and managed to come out with flying colors, so I'm sure they'll be okay. If anything, I think China is probably more worried about the rest of the world. Now, sometimes my friend from China, when he tells me the stories about medical systems in China compared to the rest of the world, he says it's like going like 50 years in the future. He's like, if you go to China's medical hospitals and stuff, they're like so advanced. He's like, when he came to Canada, he was like seeing like leeches. Like how far back our technology is compared to theirs. He's like, it's like going time traveling. So maybe that's another reason why their hospitals managed to make it through the pandemic with flying colors, is they were just like drastically more advanced than ours. But then again, like Canadian technology, our hospitals really haven't changed since the 80s. So yeah, it is almost like time traveling. If you came from a country that has modern medicine and then you came to Canada, your mind would be blown. You'd be like, holy shit. No wonder there's people dying in the hallways or paying to go to the US to get proper health care. Or is it tens of thousands of people every year go from Canada just so they can pay to get proper health care? It's funny though, if you listen to the media propaganda, you'd think that Canada had the best healthcare in the world. You gotta convince people too, like, they literally got people in Canada paying taxes to make winter longer and colder. And telling them that it's a good idea. Oh God. So I think we're pretty... Oh yeah, that was the other thing. We can do some fighter carnivals. I was thinking there's one more thing we could do. I was trying to remember what the fuck it was. Finally did. Alright, so we'll finish the rest of these free ones first, then we'll come back to the general. Oh fuck, man, I don't know, like, if anyone's heard the details of what's been happening with the side effects lately. Obviously, I can't tell you what the side effects we're talking about from, but dear God, man, it's fucking scary. Like, I knew, like, when this whole shit was going down that it might take a while before people start to notice how bad the side effects really were. Because really, like, sometimes you get something and you don't notice for like 2, 3, 5 years even, right? So sadly enough, we're starting to see the side effects roll in, and it's a fucking nightmare. I don't know, I think they called it a nightmare in the UK, a nightmare in different parts of the US. The other countries that got like hit bad with this, where they were forced to take it in mass amounts. But anyways, guess what's happening to the kids? Kids are getting fucking liver failure. And they're like, oh my God, what's causing all these kids to get liver failure? Can't be these. And then you look into the history of these and why they needed the Emergency Act to authorize it. Guess why? Because it was fucking causing liver failure. Fucking sons of bitches. They have the fucking nerve to go around, oh, I wonder why all the kids are getting liver failure. It's like, yeah, I wonder why. fucking, like, to be fair, it could be something else, but oh, what a weird coincidence, right? Right as soon as we start mass injecting, all of a sudden we got mass liver cases. What could be the correlation? It's what happens when the media is controlled, right? They can't even look at the correlation. They're not allowed. They would get their license taken away. So not to say that it's for sure causing the liver failure, but dear God, man, you look into the history of it, like even in the early 2000s when they started working on it, they were having the liver failure problem even then. And that was the main problem. They're like, we're never going to be able to force everyone to do this because no one's going to want to take it if their liver dies or fails. And that was the main problem too. They're like, what happens if people are like want to drink alcohol after they've taken this and their liver problems start happening? Guess what? You can't drink alcohol anymore. So they said the problem has gotten so bad with the kids' liver failing that they've already started to do liver transplants to some of the kids. I was like, holy fuck, eh? Can you imagine you're a parent? You're forced to give your kid this injection or else, and the odds of the kid even getting sick is like 1 in a million from the actual virus or like bad effects from it. And now they're getting liver failure and they need a fucking organ transplant. You know how fucking pissed I'd be as the parent? Like, you forced my child to do this. Now they're going for a fucking organ transplant? They were healthy before? You gotta be fucking kidding me, man. But hopefully it is unrelated and maybe people's livers are just failing for no reason. Oh yeah, and they said it's like a mass liver failure. So they're like, holy shit, like why is everyone's liver failing now? I wonder why. Let's hope it's not related. Like, I'm not jumping for joy and cheering that we found out that they were wrong all along and the fucking side effects are a lot worse than they thought. Or at least that they covered up. Fuckers, man. See, that's the one thing when it comes to governments and doctors. I would never, ever trust a government doctor. They could tell me the sky is blue. And I'd be like, fuck, it has to be orange. There's no way. I've never heard a government doctor once ever tell the truth. Not even remotely true. So that's why they came into problems. If they would have told me my family doctor and be like, hey, speak to your family doctor, see what he says to do. Then I would have been like, you know what? Maybe I should trust my family doctor because I already do. Fuck. I don't know if my family doctor would have recommended it though. Because when I talked to my office, they're not too keen on the whole situation. So I'm wondering how many doctors' offices across Canada actually weren't too keen on it. So that's why they're like, hey, we can't just tell people, talk to your family doctor, because a lot of them aren't keen on it. So we literally had to do a blanket statement of tell everyone to do it and don't even ask your family doctor. Because if they did ask, they might say no. That was one of the old lines from Star Trek. There was this alien species and they kidnapped the Enterprise and they used it to like as a server so they could transfer their civilization from one computer hard drive to another. And then after they kidnapped the Enterprise, they gave it back. And all the Enterprise crew was like, holy fuck, guys, why the hell did you kidnap our ship? And then the aliens are like, well, fuck, we had to kidnap it because you could have said no. And I was like, what do you mean? It was like, if you would have said no, our civilization would have died. So like, we had to kidnap your show or your ship just to make sure you had no option to say no. And then they're like, okay, I guess. At least you gave the ship back, but fuck, you should have still asked. So that's where you get into problems, where the government started to realize that, right? They're like, holy fuck, if we give people the option, they might say no. So they just take away that option. Make sure it's a my way or the highway situation. Oh, so all 3N. He wants to know, where can you get the Clone Evolution version for PC? Because I'm playing it on PC right now. Let's show them. What you need is actually a program called BlueStacks. They just came out with a new version. So I'm actually on the old version. So once you get BlueStacks, let's show the viewers. Oh, fuck, I just closed it. It's called BlueStacks. I'm on version 4.2. I think if you use the latest version, it works on almost any computer. But if you have the older version, it takes a lot of processor. So anyways, once you got BlueStacks, you go to your home screen, and you can go to Google Pay and get Clone Evolution. And basically, this BlueStacks will let you play any Android stuff on your computer, as long as there's no like Bluetooth features. They said they might add Bluetooth features in the future, but right now it's just anything that can run Android. So it's nice, like if you want to sideload any Android app, you can download the ROMs and just play them right on your computer. You don't even have to like download it from Google Pay. You can even sideload it in. But the easiest way, obviously, just go with Google Pay because it's free anyway, so why would you hack it? That is the best way to beat hackers, right? Or to beat the copyright system. Just make it free anyway. So that way there's nothing to steal. Man, if you look at Bellator, they're one of the most popular fighting leagues in the world right now. What did they do? They stopped being like UFC. UFC, they're always trying to force people and trying to stop people from streaming. What did Bellator do? They're like, hey, let's start a fight organization and let's encourage streaming. We'll even give it for free. Guess who's winning? UFC is still winning, but I bet you Bellator, one day, they will pass UFC. That model of pay-per-view and trying to force people to stop downloading, you're shooting yourself in the foot with that model. Alright, I'll be right back. I just gotta grab something. And we'll put on my commercial. We'll be right back. We're back. Now I can't believe it. I actually made it to beer 3 tonight. No, normally when I get down in the dumps, like after my uncle passed, I just can't bring myself to drink. I know some people cure depression by drinking. It just doesn't work for me. It's like I have to be in a good mood to drink or I just can't even do it. Yeah, so now that I actually got cheered up, got out of the house a bit today, we're on to beer number 3. Let's not get carried away. YouTube says you have to drink in moderation. A little bit low on foam. Now I'm so happy my friend Matt, he got me one of these beer glasses from an actual pub. Hopefully he paid for it. If anyone's ever not really gotten into beer drinking, obviously if you're of age, but and if you ever get a pub glass and you pour your own beers at home like they do in the pub, you start to see why they use the pub glass. It actually makes the beer taste way better. You just got to get the right amount of foam in it. Holy fuck, man. Is this an intense battle or what? Yeah, so just to remind everyone, I was going over the Discord. Yeah, just try not to post even toy guns, because I know Discord probably doesn't care if it's a toy or a real gun. Probably strict with both. Alright, so Steadfast is asking, can she scan any QR code anywhere on Discord? I haven't tried the QR code Discord thing, so I'm not sure what that's all about. If anyone else knows. What else questions is there? Oh yeah, the gun is scary. Yeah, probably shouldn't be posting guns. Yeah, Steadfast is saying she hopes that Discord is more fun than Wikipedia. I don't know, I'm kind of a Wikipedia addict. I'm terrible at it. Some days I'll like find a topic and then I'll read a little bit about it on Wikipedia. And after I read about it, I'll see a couple highlighted words that I don't know, so I'll start reading all those links. Next thing I know, I have like 20 links open where I've gone into like so deep into the article. What was just like one article, I ended up reading like the history of like 10 different articles, and it's like, oh god. It's like one of those choose your own adventure novels that just never ends. The never-ending story, choose your own adventure style. So yeah, Wikipedia, I get it that Wikipedia is really biased, where a lot of times I read it and I just want to throw up. I'm like, dear God, who the hell wrote this? But you got to take it with a grain of salt, right? Obviously, everything on Wikipedia is not going to be flawless. There's going to be some shit that's really good and others it sucks balls. Not in a good way. And is Discord fun? I think it is, just like ICQ. So if anyone used to use the internet when it first came out and they're familiar with ICQ, ICQ and Discord are almost identical. I can't even really see any difference. And it's so weird too, because ICQ was popular for a long time, and then it just stopped and people really weren't using ICQ rooms anymore. So I don't know why everyone all of a sudden started again and we just ditched ICQ and started with Discord instead. I wonder if Discord and ICQ have any relation. Maybe it's the same programmers. So I was never a really big fan of ICQ just because it was a little bit hectic. Like you literally have to keep up with this giant scrolling feed of information. ICQ would get really bad where it'd be like 10,000 people all putting a comment at the same time. So it'd just be like pages every second. So at least Discord hasn't got that bad yet, unless you're in like a room that's, I guess, overcrowded. So it is kind of nice if you can keep Discord pages on the small side where you're not like in giant rooms. At least my room, there's only like 50 people in it, so it doesn't get crazy with just like pages of chat every day. The other thing with Discord is a lot of times it beeps too much. So if you get sick of the beeps, there's actually ways to turn them off. I don't know, they fucked up so many of my recordings because it wouldn't stop beeping. And then one day I finally figured it out, and yeah, I've never wanted those beeps back since. I do not miss them at all. Yeah, if anyone's ever tried like the new version of BlueStacks and they like it better, maybe they want to put it in the chat. Because I actually did install the new version, I like it better, but I just can't get the game loaded. I fucked up the syncing with those accounts. I was thinking I'll talk to customer support and see if they can link it to my Facebook again. Because right now it's not linked to Facebook, and I think that's why it's hard for me to transfer it over to a new device. So yeah, if you ever want to make sure you don't lose your account, just make sure you take a picture or a screenshot of your name and your server. So if you ever do happen to lose your way to log in, that you can just contact customer support. And as long as you have your name and your server number, usually that's enough for them to get your account back. Yeah, once you get BlueStacks on the computer, like, I don't know, for guys, I think BlueStacks on the computer is a godsend. Because not to make fun of guys, but you ever notice a lot of guys, they're not really the greatest at using their cell phone for computer shit? Where guys almost always need an actual computer. But women, they seem to be able to do everything on the cell phone so easily. I don't know if they're just learning how to use it faster or whatever it is, but... So yeah, so if guys can get like a desktop version and not have to deal with the Android like cell phone stuff all the time, For me, it's a godsend. I can't stand cell phones, especially the overheating, the charging, and all that shit. I'd rather just use a desktop where I plug it in and I don't have to deal with charging or overheating. Well, I shouldn't say that. My computer used to have overheating issues, probably will again one day soon. Knock on wood. No, whoever invented BlueStacks, what a great invention. Now, obviously there is other software that you can use to emulate Android, but I tried like 5 or 6 of them, and BlueStacks was the best by like a mile. Wasn't even close. So BlueStacks, especially the new version, if you can get the latest one working, it'll probably work great. Even better than what I got running. And I'm not paid to promote BlueStacks or anything. I wish I was. If anyone needs me to shill, call. Now, my real hope with starting a YouTube channel and doing the gaming stuff and building a community on Discord is hopefully I can get some help. Because normally in life, early on in life, I always tried to do everything on my own. But then I started to realize, man, if I can get help doing stuff, it is so much better. So I guess it is kind of a greedy reason, but hey, hopefully I can help other people as well at the same time. So I won't just be a complete leech about it. Now, it is nice to have a community, right? It's like church community. Except for video games. The church of gaming. Now, it's where the Amish people, the Mennonites, they all help each other out, right? It's a good system. Even the First Nations people, I don't know if it was true for many of the First Nations people, but when we were learning it about in history, they used to talk about how First Nations families were closer than European ones. More generations were accustomed to living with each other, where we usually ditch our families. So I guess we got to try to find families wherever we can. Gangs, computer, chat rooms. Now, it is kind of a sad way that people ditch their families, and I often wonder if that's why the pandemic happened. Maybe not directly, but indirectly. It was a product of us realizing that, hey, maybe we shouldn't be ditching our families all the time. If your family isn't helping you, then you often get into worse trouble. Like, sure, hospitals can help people and PSWs can help people, but compared to what? Like, compared to like 10 people in a family helping? Like, not to be morbid about it, but say if one of your family members ends up in a hospital or a PSW care, there are going to be one doctor or one PSW to care for like 30 people. So it's not going to be like one-on-one care for an actual family member looking after the people they lived with for their whole lives. I wonder if that's how China did it too. I should ask my friend. Is China more family oriented? Or are they into like ditching their family too? It's like, well, Mom, you've reached 60. Time for the old folks home. I'm just kidding. Nah, I shouldn't make fun of it, man. When family member ends up getting put in an old folks home against their will, it's really a bad situation, right? Starting to experience that with our families and stuff now and seeing it happen, it's like, oh God. Can you imagine that? You reach a point in your life and it's like prison, right? They take you and they put you in an old folks home and you're literally not allowed to leave and you want to. So isn't that really basically a prison? And that's what a lot of people end up in. What a society. Jeez. I never even realized that, eh? When you get a job as a PSW, it's like you're part doctor, but you're also part prison guard. It's like you're trying to help this patient, but you're also trying to keep them in prison. God, that's a hard job. It's like two of the hardest jobs combined into one. Now, that's why when everyone's telling me, like, Leland, why don't you play this game? Leland, why aren't you playing No Man's Sky? Why aren't you playing Roblox? And it's like, fuck, man. I keep looking down the line in my life, and I'm like, in my 40s now, right? Like 50s, 60s. It's basically like 20 years from now, I might not have any time to do other shit. So not to be so morbid about it, but yeah, I try to play 1 or 2 games, and that's all I really got time for. And eventually I will beat Clone Evolution, so once that's beat, I even started to think about that. I'm like, man, it's going to be sad one day when I beat Clone Evolution. Because even like just playing it 1 day a week or whatever I'm playing now, it's like I still miss the daily episodes. It was really fun, like hanging out with everyone every day. Fuck, I wish I had more time. Excuse me. No, at one point there, it's like we even started getting 20 viewers an episode tuned in live, and it was like I knew everyone. It was like an episode of Cheers. It's like hanging out in a bar and everyone knows your name. That was the ultimate. I don't know if anyone's ever done the convention scene before, but I started getting into doing the convention scene, like Star Trek and sci-fi and all the different conventions, the big ones in Toronto. And it got to the point where I was hanging out with the different celebrities from all my favorite TV shows year after year after year. So it got to the point where some of them I'd actually been hanging out with for like 20 years. And then, yeah, there was the weirdest moment it hit me is one day I walked into a big bar in Toronto. It's like the Horseshoe Tavern or whatever they called it. And everyone from like my favorite TV shows was at the bar because it was the convention after party. And they all yelled to me and they're like, Leland, come over, have a drink. And I was like, what the hell, right? This is such a weird experience. Everyone that I've always idolized on TV is hanging out at the bar with me and they all know me by name. It's like, what the fuck? So I don't know, some people make fun of the convention life and going to these conventions year after year. I guess it is kind of shallow and people like, oh, those celebrities, they're not really your friends. But it does seem weird at the same time. Like, sure, they're not really my friends, but I'm hanging out with them year after year and they all know my name even more than some of my friends do in real life. Yeah, I miss the big conventions. That was kind of a neat life too. I know it sounds shallow and all, like trying to have a life hanging out with celebrities, but celebrities are people too, right? Like a lot of the people you meet from TV shows, you'd be surprised how they're just like regular people. It's not like they fly around in jets every day. Most of the time they just do regular stuff. Yeah, that'd be weird if I could start doing the conventions for my YouTube channel. I was thinking that'd be kind of funny to introduce the viewers to the different celebrities I know from conventions. Because I bet you a lot of the people from YouTube or viewers have actually heard of some of them. Maybe not all of them, because there are a lot of 80s celebrities, but... or 90s celebrities. I don't know, every time I see celebrities on TV today, I have no idea who these people are. I'm like, I pretty much quit watching TV around the year 2000. So any shows after that pretty much draw a blank. You know, it was funny. I was saying that all the celebrities I know since I was like growing up have pretty much gotten really old and don't really look anything alike. And I was surprised. I shouldn't have said that because Jerry Ryan, 7 and 9, man, is she ever still looking good? Can't believe it. Some people are obviously going to say it's just plastic surgery and that's why she looks so good still, but whoever's doing it, man, they're doing an amazing job. God, she barely aged at all. Oh yeah, if anyone, I was getting back into Star Trek stuff today because I've been kind of a little bit too hardcore Star Wars. I'll show you what I found. Normally what happens is Star Wars always has the best merch. So everything when I try to buy stuff to decorate, everything sucks Star Trek. So I'm like always buying Star Trek or Star Wars stuff instead. But I actually found some stuff today for Star Trek that I want to get. Now obviously since I'm saving money for my place up north, I'm not going to get this stuff anytime soon. And I have to travel to the States to get it, or someone I know will have to get it from the States. But check out what you can get for Star Trek now. It's the Star Trek wine collection. You can get Picard's wine from his vineyard in France. You can get the United Federation of Planets. Is this the Synthahol? I don't even know. Yeah, this might be the Synthahol stuff. So I think that's the stuff that can't get you drunk. I don't even know. Looks like another Federation brand. The Andalorian Blue. The Klingon Blood Wine. Oh, fuck, man. I'd love to get a bottle of that. And Romulan Ale. So when it comes to merchandise, I shouldn't say that Star Trek doesn't have anything good. The Batleth is pretty good. And I like the Star Trek wine collection. If any of my viewers ever want to get me a treat, I don't think you can even ship it to me in Canada. You'd actually have to deliver it, but if you can, I would definitely like these bottles. Man. That's the one shitty thing about Canada, when I talked about the medical monopoly and everything they fuck with that. We also do a monopoly system for the liquor, so any booze or stuff, you either buy it from the monopoly or you can't get it at all. So when it comes to like brands from other countries, if the monopoly carries it, then we're allowed to buy it. But if they don't, then sorry, you're out of luck. I don't want to get too materialistic, always collecting stuff too, but actually that's one of my biggest things to look forward to, I think, in the future, is the day that I have no possessions. That'll be such a relaxing day. I'll be like, oh, finally, nothing that I have to look after. Isn't that funny too? As you go through life, you're always like, oh, I want to collect, I want to collect, I want to collect. And then as you get older, you're like, oh, fuck, now I just want to get rid of everything. I think it's because when you're younger, you're like, oh, I'm going to have all this time, I can store all this stuff, it'll go up in value. Then you reach a point in your life and you're like, oh, fuck, man, I don't want to collect all this shit. I don't have time for it to go up in value. I'm just wasting money storing it. Yeah, especially the comic book collectors, man. I feel bad for those guys. Those comics were so big. They took up so much space in people's houses. And some people saved like entire rooms just filled with comics. Because everyone thought they were going to go up and be like millions of dollars one day. It turned out the comics were worthless, and all they had to do was save the video games. If they would have saved the console games, they would have fucking raked it in. Instead, they saved comics and lost everything. Makes me wonder what the future generation, like all the younger viewers now, like what do you even try to collect? Do they tell you to collect hockey cards still? If I was a kid today and I had to pick something to collect because I wanted to save it and hopefully it went up in the future, fuck, what would I collect? You have to pick something that people in the future are going to want to buy. So that's where the comic book collectors and the hockey card collectors, they all fucked up. Or the baseball card collectors. Because they thought that people in the future would want to buy comics. Or that they'd want to buy hockey cards. What they didn't realize is people in the future, they didn't want any of that shit. They wanted to collect the old video games that were rare and hard to get. So yeah, if you want to collect something today as a kid, you'd have to pick something that'll be rare and people want it in the future. And they can't get it anymore because it's gone. And they could only get it in the past. Fuck, I wonder what it would be. Has any of the viewers got an idea? What could it be that kids today should collect? If I was going to guess, I would probably guess the video games, but that'd almost be too easy of a guess, right? There's probably going to be kids in the future and they won't care anything about NES games. So yeah, this NES fad of selling those games, that'll probably only last for so long. And then kids will be like, fuck it, who the hell wants NES shit? Now, you'd probably look at early copies of Minecraft. If you could get like an old hard copy of Minecraft, maybe save that. Someone in the future would be like, hey, let's collect the original Minecraft disc. Or fuck, man, Minecraft might not even be popular anymore. So you'd have to pick a game in the future that might be popular. And then look at the copy of what's available today and try to collect it. I think if I was a kid today and I was faced to collect something, I'd probably collect no possessions. Just because I realize how bad it sucks to try to get rid of it later, but... Yeah, what's another thing kids in the future are going to want that we have today, but it's going to disappear? And it's probably going to be some rare electronic, right? Like some sort of technology that just won't be made anymore in the future. Something like maybe a cell phone even. Can you imagine like the cell phones we're using today? They just won't be for sale in the future. So someone will be like, oh fuck, do you got like an Apple One phone or something? Or the iPhone 5. If you can save a few of those, they'll be worth like $1 million in 40 years. Nah, I doubt it's cell phones though. There's probably something else. What technology do we got that's just gonna vanish? Now, I was thinking the technology that I'd like to see vanish is regular monitors, like TVs and shit. God, how long are we gonna keep using TVs? The biggest upgrade I think I'd get over a TV would just be to finally switch to holograms. I'm not really that into monitors anymore. I was thinking about it, do I really want to save up and get like an 80-inch TV or something? Like, for what? I don't even like monitors. If I should be saving up for anything, I should be saving up for the next hologram breakthrough in technology. So at least when holograms come up, I'll actually have the money to buy it. I know a lot of people aren't really sold on the idea that holograms are going to be any good. I don't know, for me, I think it's going to do better than VR. I guess VR didn't do that great, but... Or who knows, could be wrong, and holograms will just be one of those fads again, too. I was just picturing it, like right now, if I had a holographic monitor, I could be watching Clone Evolution, and I could like almost feel like I could touch the holograms. They'd just be like characters moving around on the desk. That'd be fucking wild. I think it would be trippy as hell on mushrooms too. I don't know if it's the new strains of mushrooms, because yeah, when mushrooms used to be available in Canada back in the 90s, you could only get red or blue. That was really the only two options. Not that I know or anything, but... And today you can get so many different kinds of mushrooms. And the last few times I got spiked, holy shit. Mushrooms definitely seem different. Like, I've never had like the actual visual hallucinations that I have on recent mushrooms. So I was thinking, dear God, if you had a hologram with today's mushrooms, whew, that would be epic. Yeah, I was thinking that, like, back in the old days, the 90s, when you did magic mushrooms, it was mainly just a body buzz. You never actually hallucinated. It was very rare to see something like actually visual hallucination. But I'd have to say, like, the last 2 or 3 times I got spiked with regular mushrooms today, like modern times, fuck, man, hallucinating all the time. One time I was looking at my ceiling and it looked like it was breathing. I'm like, why is my ceiling breathing? I actually watched my ceiling breathe for like 3 hours. It was pretty intense. And it wasn't actually that bad. I was like, man, that's the trippiest thing I've ever seen. I didn't even know my ceiling could breathe. Now that reminds me too. I think it was the old LSD in the olden days when one of my friends got spiked with too much. And she was saying that the visual hallucinations off getting spiked with too much acid. So it's almost like today's mushrooms are as strong as the acid in the old days. Huh. Someone was telling me is because the modern mushrooms are all the new penis envy strain. And the penis envy strain is a lot stronger than the ones we used to get. Yeah, so hopefully I don't get spiked with any mushrooms when I'm up north. Imagine some of those trips. Oh man, wandering around in the woods. If anyone's wandered around in the woods when you're on mushrooms in the city, it's not so bad. Because a lot of the woods we have, they're not really filled with animals that will kill you. But if you go up north and you're wandering around in the woods on mushrooms, damn, the animals out there, they'll tear you to shreds. So yeah, that'd be really trippy. You'd have to be careful, man. I don't know if anyone's ever noticed it too. If you ever meet a nerd throughout your life that's like really into school and school, and they never party at all. But then all of a sudden one day they do party and the partying is like so overwhelmingly different than what they're used to that they just go off the rails and drop out of school and it ruins their lives. So that's how I was kind of thinking. It's almost like parents in a way. They should raise their kid to obviously focus on school and getting everything done properly, but to make sure that they don't totally isolate them. Yeah, because if you totally isolate them, then they run that risk of rebelling at the slightest chance of getting a taste of what partying is like. Oh yeah, that reminds me too. One time in high school, there was this one girl in our class, I think it was drama class, and she used to always brag about how she was a virgin. And I was like, why are you bragging about that? It seems so weird, right? It's like, obviously, there's a lot of people that are virgins in the class. It's fucking high school, right? And then once she actually did try sex, she became like a sex addict. Or she just had lots of kids and hardly had any sex, but sometimes that does happen. God, we're just getting our asses whooped today. Can't win. Oh yeah, that reminds me, we're supposed to be doing the arena battles. What the hell are we playing? Oh, we're still not even done these? Holy shit. Slow enough. Oh yeah, people wanted to see some pictures about how bad the flooding was at my place up north because of the snow. Let's check it out, see how bad the flooding was. Look at the fucking house and look at the snow. Can you imagine how bad the flooding would be on the foundation when the snow is like halfway up the fucking building? It kind of looks like someone took a snowblower and just blew all the snow right at my house. God, that's in rough shape. So now when I started to realize, like, why is the flooding in the foundation so bad? That's why. No, so this looks like this guy. Maybe the guy who was storing his snowmobiles. He literally just shot the snow at my house. I'll have to mention that to him. I don't know if anyone's ever done snowblowing before, but that's a big no-no. Normally what you're supposed to do is shoot the snow away from the foundation so it doesn't cause flooding. It's funny, this actually looks almost identical to my brother's house. It's even the same trailer, same garage, same house, same neighbor. Oh. So, well, we'll see how bad the basement is this year. Maybe the foundation moved again, but it'll move back into place. That'd be wishful thinking. Can you imagine that? You show up and your foundation fixed itself. Like, alright. If I had to guess, it got much, much worse. Yeah, so that could be the future of Lelanders' YouTube channel. We'll be doing clone evolution. We'll have a live stream camera showing the lake and the mountains. If I had to guess, the lake and the mountain live stream might even surpass our viewers for gaming. Because, you know, people are sometimes into the nature stuff. Oh, and like Warzard the Board Time Lord was saying, am I gonna get any retro gaming stuff done? Let's hope. Really, the next phase of what I'll be doing this week is I'll be getting the estimates back from the different building contractors. We'll have to put something in motion. If I get a good news from that one contractor and he's able to start right away, I might even just put it in motion. I'll be like, fuck man, when I get up there in the end of May, my garage might already be done. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I definitely want to come up and watch the construction, make sure that it goes well. But who knows? Yeah, well, we'll talk to the different contractors, see what's happening with that. If I have to wait longer and longer, then maybe we'll have to do some more gaming stuff in the meantime. We'll do some of the Intellivision unboxings. We'll get my stereo and everything hooked up. Oh yeah, I got some good news from my brother about the water situation too. He thinks it is possible that if I'm already paying a water bill, he says I should be able to just have the water turned on and do a bypass valve. So it's like the rest of the house will be turned off, but I'll have one valve on, so I can actually just hook up a tap to it, like a hose or whatever, and then I'll be able to run it to wherever I need water. So technically if I do add some plumbing to the shed, I'll be able to just hook it up to the water. So the water issue actually isn't as bad as I thought. It'll be mainly just the hydro. And there's always the solar option, right? As long as you use less. And you can get a generator for when you do need more. Who knows? Maybe I can get one of those grease generators so I can just fish, collect my food from the lake, then take my fish grease or oil and run the generator. Some people say it's actually possible to convert a generator to run off cooking oil. And who knows, maybe the show will get popular enough from the travel vlogs, video games, nature stuff, that I'll be able to just get hydro eventually anyway. That's how I was kind of thinking, as kind of as dumb plain as it is. Maybe one day I could fix the house too. So I'll fix the garage first, fix the house second. Fix one building at a time. Stella! Thanks, Stella. Appreciate it. Now, Stella's in the guild, so I feel bad. Oh, Dimitri and Nick. Thanks. No, some of my guild... I'm killing our own guild members so I can win. Oh. Now, we only have to get to 2,000, so there's not much more to go. We won't slaughter our own for too much longer. There we go. Alright, so we made the 2,000. Let's check it out. Boom. We got those goals actually rather easy. It's probably because our team is actually starting to get a bit stronger now. Finally. Alright, we still have to get a whole bunch of victories. And since there's only 40 some hours, we'll do that for a bit. Then we'll wrap this episode up. Holy shit, we're almost at 3 hours. We gotta go now. Alright, thanks again everyone for watching. If you happen to get any Vibram tokens in your vaporizer, tastes like shit, give the show a dislike. But if it doesn't happen, you can help with a like and a share. Really appreciate it. Just make sure never buy the products from my sponsor.
Because it will ruin your life. Bye for now, everyone.
Take care, good luck, and have a good week. See ya. Bye for now. Later. Oh yeah, and good luck to all the new Clone Evolution players. Hopefully the advice helps.